Paradox. All right. We got some big energy today. I'm already on top of my game. I finished a video on dinosaurs. I finished the dinosaur video. Finished the Jurassic World evolution video. That'll be out a little bit later today. It's all uploaded. I just got to make the thumbnail, but I have the perfect thumbnail in mind. And I got to write the description. Because... guys, this game is so damn good. Last night, I said, I'm going to play for like 2 hours after my show, just unwind. Tamir wasn't feeling well, so we didn't run any dungeons in Final Fantasy. And I said, I'm going to play with the dinosaur park, Jurassic World Evolution. It's free on Epic Games Store. I said, I'm going to play for like 2 hours. And then I went to bed. I was like, man, I'm tired. I'll get up in the morning and I'll work. I was going to bed. I was like, man, the house is cold. My house, automatic thermostat, generally gets cooler and cooler and cooler gradually as the night goes on. I'm getting into bed. The house is like 69 degrees. I was like, what the hell time? Oh shit, it's midnight. So I lost most of my night last night. Got up this morning, got the video done. I think the video's good. I wrote the blog this morning. And that laid out the goals. I set a really, really, really big goal. I think. I don't know. Like some years I set goals. Like I don't chase numbers, but you gotta have a goal. I always recommend streamers, YouTubers. The only metric a YouTuber should chase is the monetization metric. I drove myself insane for years with that shit. Now I just have this is where I'd like to be next year, like above this, but it doesn't drive the content. But if you guys didn't check out the blog, last year, I only streamed really seriously for like 6 months. 3.1 million minutes of watch time. That's over 51,000 hours. 51,000 hours. And just to put this into a little bit of perspective, for every hour I streamed, 106 hours of watch time was accumulated. So I want to thank you guys for that. I didn't realize how big, successful of a year we had last year until I saw that this morning doing the numbers. We're starting to become like a community that's got some deep roots. And the good part to that is I don't think most games have an Asmongold. I don't think most games have MMOs, first-person shooters, MOBAs. I mean, because you can say, like, you can be like, well, who's the most vocal spokesperson for Fortnite? Okay, Ninja. What did Shroud play? I don't know Shroud's background. He played a lot of different things, but I want to say Dota 2 for a while. He was like the Dota 2 guy, if I remember correctly. Maybe the Han guy, or maybe a couple of MOBA things. I know he was a first-person shooter player as well. I know he was a first-person shooter player as well. But like MMOs, other than Asmongold, we don't have like, our games don't have like that community or that guy. And we need to change that. We need to change that. Let's get our meager forces deployed to the field of battle. Let's start. Retrolandia. This thing has made me smile. Retrolandia. I love these guys. In fact, I got a couple of giveaway codes I'm gonna do today. A couple of giveaway codes for Stream Raiders. Is that Grimard? Grimard? He came from 1.6 Counter-Strike professional NA player. Okay. Yeah, but he also, hold on, let's just look it up. Didn't he also have a run as a MOBA player? Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I want to say, no, I must be thinking of somebody else. It's not him. He was a PUBG CS:GO player. Yeah. Okay. I must be thinking somebody else. Yeah, I must be thinking somebody else. You got to realize the problem with reading a lot is you read a lot and you encounter a lot of bits and pieces, but you don't necessarily file sort them all in the same way. So I must be thinking of somebody else. I must be thinking of somebody else, and they just that line of information got filed under Shroud. But yeah, now that I'm looking at his bio, he was never a professional MOBA player. So let's see. What else? What else is going on? Oh yeah. Good high energy day today. You know, I told you guys, if you've been following my show, I've been streaming for like 3 years now. You can, and people reach out to me, they're like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I just tell people from about the middle of November till the first of the year, it's just bad for me. But everybody has bad times. It seems like in my life, like karma just keeps throwing at the November 15th to January 1st part of the calendar. So man, I just shore up. I get to the end of the year. I get to just going into like November 15th, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's batten down the hatches. It's like 6 weeks of pure life hurricane. Now that that's over, it's like high energy, high energy, high energy, high energy. Because you got to get through it. Most of the time, and sometimes people are like, doesn't that suck that like all of your bad events have happened in like a 6-week period around Christmas? And I'm like, no, because I can look forward to Christmas and I can put off a lot of that stuff. And then for the rest of the year, I don't have like those dreaded upcoming bad memories or, those bad anniversaries. So, I mean, other than Arcage breaking my heart with 4.5, but that's like 2 tequilas and a bad memory and, a bad breakup and you're good to go. I wanted to take a look at something today off the Reddit. I think we have a problem, Houston. I think we have a problem, and that problem is people are giving suggestions before they thoroughly understand the situation. Right off the bat, I'll state my general thoughts. I think it would be better for zones of influence over less developed nodes to be political and not geographic. The issue I'm worried about with the current system is that it incentivizes vassal nodes and their parent nodes to become natural enemies. They initially compete to advance their node first, and whoever wins automatically overtakes the other by geographically expanding its zone of influence. It is thus in the vassal's best interest to see their parent node destroyed so their community can expand instead. This seems to be very opposed to the intention of vassal nodes, which are supposed to be allies to their parent city. Well, first of all, that isn't true. That's not true at all. This seems to be very opposed to the intention of the vassal nodes. No, not at all. Show me in history, any time in history, where you study the development of urban politics and suburbs to their city, or you go back to, there was a reason why certain cities in the world developed. There's a reason why outlying cities didn't. Why are there major cities on the Mississippi River? Because you could use the river to transport stuff. It was much easier to transport stuff by steamboat than it was to transport it by land. What happens to the West in America when the railroads pop up? Well, then you can put a factory anywhere you want as long as you can get your stuff onto the railroad car. I don't agree with the statement. This seems to be very opposed to the intention of the vassal nodes. First of all, let's remember, even though we can compare a video game to the real world, in the world of Vera, Steven is God. Steven is the GM. Steven is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the creator and the destroyer. If he says the intention of vassal nodes is X, you can have whatever opinion you want. But if the GM says this is the intention, that's the intention. That's like when you're playing tabletop and you have a good GM, and the good GM will say to you stuff like, well, this is kind of how you feel. This is how you should feel. And the person's like, well, that's not how I feel. And you're like, the GM's like, I'll give you an example. You're pulling out your pistol and you're shooting the guy in the head. It goes against your nature. It goes against your demeanor. It goes against your alignment. And it goes against the fact that you have empathy times 5. The GM, while the GM has to allow the characters to do whatever they're going to do, the GM reserves the right to penalize the players who don't go along with the shit that's on their character sheet. It's the same sort of thing with Steven being the DM of Ashes, because that's what he ultimately is. He's the DM. This seems very opposed to the intention of the vassal nodes, but it's not, because that's how the designer has said, I want it to work. Now, what if the parent nodes had to siege the neighboring nodes or peaceably agree via treaty to expand its zone of influence? That would make more sense. No, it wouldn't. I disagree with that. I disagree with the premise that would make any more sense than the ability of a parent node to siege and destroy all of the vassal nodes around it and keep all of the resources for itself. Hey, it's released. No. So now, what if the parent node had to siege the neighboring node or peaceably agree via treaty to expand its zone of influence? That's why it's not called a regional boundary. That's why it's called a zone of influence. I don't have to have a formal treaty, a formal negotiation, or even have an army go to the next town over. I, as a human being, the human being behind the Jahlon character, I have a zone of influence. I have political influence in the small suburb I live in. You do too. Now, the amount you have may be close to 0, but influence isn't this tangible thing. It's your ability to get a meeting or to, your ability to make a phone call and make something happen. That's influence. That's influence. Now, you got to be careful because influence is like chips in a poker game. You don't want to burn them for somebody else. Like if I burn, like the world is a series of poker games that you have a different amount of chips on each table. Talents wants to get an interview with Steven, and he can't do it on his own accord. So I use my influence in Intrepid to help Talents get an interview with Steven. But that costs me a sizable stack of my chips on the Intrepid table. What do I get in exchange? What's my equivalent exchange? That's influence. Influence is a tangible thing. If you played the game Vampire the Masquerade, the World of Darkness Vampires, they have a series of things called boons, favors. They also have influence. So you trade favors for influence, and that's kind of how that, to understand a zone of influence. So where he says that if the parent node had to siege instead of expanding its zone of influence, I disagree with you. I don't have to conquer you to influence you. That would make more sense. No, it would make more sense to you. It doesn't make more sense to me. Then the resulting vassal node is naturally friendly since its citizens were originally loyal to the parent node. No, see, that is a jump in logic. That is a logical fallacy. Then the resulting vassal node is naturally friendly. How do you come to the conclusion that it's naturally friendly because its citizens were originally loyal to the parent node? You just said if they had to siege or they had to peaceably agree. Now, yes, in our history, there are periods of time, like way back when like the Romans would declare war on Germania because they were expanding the borders of the empire. Very few Romans that were in those divisions that went to the far borders of the empire had families. The commanders did, the officers did, but most of the time, like the Romans that went and expanded the borders in Gaul, in Germania, in Britannia, they went there knowing they were never going back to Rome because there was nothing there for them. They weren't influential enough to be assigned to a Roman, a guard garrison somewhere close to Italy. They were assigned to a unit where they had no family political influence, and they went to the borders. They didn't go home. They weren't necessarily loyal to Rome. They weren't going to rebel against Rome. But some of them, they got to Britannia and their tour was up. They didn't. You think they wanted to march the fuck home? No, they just said, "Thanks, Centurion. I'm just gonna put down roots here. I've been banging this girl over here. I've been banging a local. I have 3 sons. My 3 sons wouldn't be recognized in Rome anyway. I have nothing in Rome to go back to. So when you say you conquered a place, those people that were conquered aren't loyal to the conquerors. And if anybody needs to be reminded of this, let us just look back to World War I and World War II. We defeated Germany in World War I. We didn't leave standing garrisons there. We didn't leave people there. There is no dispute. We beat Germany in World War I. The Allies, i.e. America. We beat Germany in World War I, but we beat them. We didn't leave anybody there. They were our vassals and they weren't loyal to us. And within a generation, they said, fuck this. We're going to throw off the yoke of this bullshit. So I disagree. I disagree with the entire, then the resulting vassal node is naturally friendly since its citizens were originally loyal to the parent node. Unless you're talking about exterminating everybody where you go, right? And then just replacing them. And then the other problem with that theory, which is, a doable theory, but you're going to exterminate everybody that's there. Well, who are you going to get to go live in a shit village and build it up? If I have the ability to walk back to a civilized city, or you want me to sit here and squat in the mud in a village, who are you going to get to squat in the village? Only those people who didn't have influence back in the city to begin with. So it's exactly what I started with. Anyway, you might say vassal nodes cannot declare war on their parent nodes or any other vassals. Actually, the wiki says this. Yes, the wiki says this. But this doesn't really solve anything. It may solve the symptom, but not the root problem. Okay. It doesn't solve the symptom, because you can't do it, but not the root problem. You haven't identified a root problem. And sometimes people want to get uppity. If you're going to use the phrase root problem, then I'm going to hold you accountable to understanding root problem identification. You have yet to identify any problem yet. And so you're on paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're on paragraph 6, and you haven't presented a problem yet. Making natural enemies unable to fight one another. Stop. ... They're not natural enemies. There is a symbiotic relationship that exists. Appreciate the follow. There is a symbiotic relationship that exists between every town, anywhere in the world, ever. Symbiotic relationship between every town. I'm going to give you an example from my past. Symbiotic relationship between Gary, Indiana, and Chicago, Illinois. Lots of good jobs in Chicago. Back 25, 30 years ago, not a lot of good jobs in Gary. Gary has really turned it around with the casinos, and they changed how Gary is. But 25, 30 years ago, there weren't really any opportune futures in Gary, Indiana, but there were a lot in Chicago. But people didn't want to live in Cook County, and people lived in Indiana. They liked Indiana, lower cost of living. So that you guys know, it's not that like crack house we saw yesterday, right? When we, I got rid of the crack house. It's not like, when I say lower cost of living, it doesn't, sometimes people think lower cost of living, I'm referring to like people living in like shitty houses. Hello. Shitty houses or crack houses or trailer parks. Like I told you, like, and our guy that just randomly jumped in. My house is nicer than that crack house we saw yesterday. And I paid less than half the price. Let me grab this. Let me grab this picture if I can. It doesn't look like. What's going on? Where is it? I deleted it. I didn't delete it permanently. Date modified. View. Extra large icons. Oh yeah, here we go. And my daughter needs to open her door. So this was the house yesterday. This was the house yesterday from San Diego when we were looking for a single family home. $320,000 for this house. $320 for this house in San Diego. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, $320. My house is 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, about 800 more square feet of livable space. My house is fucking 92, I think is what it said on the website yesterday. Does that mean I have a worse house? No, I would say this house is worse than my house. Quality of life and cost of living are regional based. Anyway, so people live in Gary, they go work in Chicago, they go back home and they live in Gary. That's a symbiotic relationship. Making natural enemies unable to fight one another due to arbitrary game rules won't magically make them allies. Except this guy misses the point where there is a thing that makes them allies, in that in your vassal chain up through the king. First of all, let's take this back a step. This system isn't designed to make you allies. There is a reason why it is called the enslaved node. It is called a parent and a vassal, not a parent and a child. It is a vassal node. You are their vassal. You are beholden to them. They send you work to do. They send you work to do. You do it or you don't. You support them or you don't. They get sieged and you march to their defense or you don't. It doesn't make making natural enemies unable to fight one another due to arbitrary game rules won't magically make them allies. And where the fuck is this statement Steven has said, supposedly, that they're supposed to make them allies? They're not supposed to make them allies. It's supposed to make one the symbiont and one the parasite. It's a symbiotic relationship, but it's really a parasitic relationship. You're in my way. I can't grow until you're removed. At the same time, you being a strong parent node stops other people from attacking me until I'm ready to grow. So a lot of this is this guy doesn't understand the mechanics. As stated earlier, it may be in the vassal's node's best interest to see their parent node destroyed. It's in every vassal node's best interest to see their parent's node destroyed. What it may be, it is. You can't grow unless your parent node gets the hell out of the way. So they incentivize to grief any sieges against the parent node as much as possible to ensure defeat. That doesn't sound right. What doesn't sound right about it? I can't grow until you're gone. I hire outside people to come in and siege you. I would think it would make more sense for the zones of influence to expand due to either military action or peaceful alliances. But then you're not playing Ashes of Creation. You're playing a different game. Expanding your ZOI should probably be limited to neighboring nodes, but enclaves might be cool too. It is limited to neighboring nodes. But I'm just some random guy, so maybe I'm missing something. You're missing the entire point of the game design. One bonus example. If I'm a citizen of a village controlled by Red Metropolis and I want to siege a village controlled by Blue Metropolis, I'd be pretty annoyed if I won the siege and suddenly Blue became my parent node just because of geography. Well, if you won the siege, this doesn't even understand the way the siege mechanics work. There would be no way for, well, there could, like, I take that back. It might happen. It could possibly happen in a fucked up layout of node algorithm that you're a member of Red Metropolis's zone of influence. You win a siege against something held by Blue, and it was easier for Red to go into that new vacant space, and you were at like the bottom. And it's possible that moving those nodes around, the push, pull, bend, twist, turn, you could end up, it's possible, but I highly doubt that that would happen. But then he says it would be much more satisfying for Reds. So here's where we get the real crux of it. I love when people fuck up their argument by using subjective based words. It would be much more satisfying. Remember guys, I'm going to analyze everything somebody writes, because when you free write, your true intentions come out in the words you choose. It would be more satisfying. This person doesn't have a problem with the system. They have a problem with the fact that they're limited to 20% of the world under a metropolis. This person also somehow probably has in the back of their head that they're ever going to be the mayor of a metropolis, and they're not. They don't have the right mindset for it. Sorry, I'm going to be a jerk here. This author has delusions that they're going to be a metropolis mayor, and they're not. They also don't understand that it would be much more satisfying for Red Zone of Influence to expand into that area that my countrymen just successfully sieged under the banner of Red. Except the world is divided into two groups of 5. 5 castle regions, 5 metropolis regions. So, if Red gains 5 yards, Red gives up 5 yards somewhere else because Red can't be larger than 20%. If Red could be larger than 20%, you would eventually have the one metropolis to rule them all, where a group like Goon Swarm or the White Order or Asmongold and his 15,000 people, they come to a server. If a metropolis can expand beyond 20% of the world, you're breaking certain control mechanics that are in place. Also, removing the rule that vassal nodes cannot attack their parent nodes would allow for more player-driven gameplay. Why should you not be allowed to rebel against an Athorian metropolis? That sounds fun. The ZOI expansion just needs to be politically driven for this to work. No. Sorry. There is a reason why. There is a reason why you can't rebel. Because the GM fucking said so. However, remember, you can move. You can leave. You're not a tree. If you don't like where you're planted, you can leave and you can go somewhere else, and then you can siege against your former authoritarian people. You just leave, establish your citizenship somewhere else. Remember, you don't want to have your house, your freehold, and your apartment all in the same node. You want to have your house in one node, your apartment in another node, and your freehold maybe in the same one, or maybe in a third place altogether. Maybe you want to have your apartment in a different castle region so you have somewhere to go. There's still a lot people don't know. Now, Talents asks, how did this get 29 upgrade votes? I have no idea. What I said was somewhere. While your example of red and blue would be more satisfying, it would go against the idea that the world is divided into 2 divisions of 5. One division of 5 is the castle regions. One is ultimately the 5 metropolis, which will only take up the 20% of the world. In your scenario, if the red zone of influence expanded into what was blue, then the red would also have to give up something, and truthfully, it may. This may actually occur. The zones of influence move, bend, twist, shape, push, pull as needed. They sometimes go in strange directions. They sometimes follow the path of least resistance. Now, the rest of what you're saying is it would make more sense. I mean, if this was a single player or small group game like Civ 6, then yes, it would make more sense. Yes, I understand some systems would have to change to avoid unending expansion. I still stand by my proposal, even if this adds a layer of difficulty to the development. All right. As a continuous process improvement expert, let me tell you why a suggestion fails out of the box. You can take this thread, you can fucking close it, because this is what somebody says. I stand by my proposal, even if this adds a layer of difficulty to development. The trick to any suggestion is you have to be able to do it without creating any more work. In fact, you have to be able to get to your ideal end state and reduce the level of work. Let's see. At the same time, rebellions inside a country during the Middle Ages is a thing. Maybe something to consider adding, like rebel faction system. This would allow people to do something about it if they don't like how the leadership of that node is doing things. But the problem is that you're not talking about the leadership of your node, which you can do something about. It's called vote them out. You can't see, you have to take away, I acknowledge to you that there were rebellions inside countries during the Middle Ages. That's because the man who sat on the big throne, if you remember, it was against religious law to question the king, because the king was chosen and ordained by God through the Pope, who was the earthly embodiment of the church. Remember, if you want to get into history, England broke away from Catholicism because the Pope wouldn't give him another, the king couldn't get another divorce. If you remember, Catholicism spread with the expansion of the Roman Empire once the Romans became Roman Catholic. The kings of those individual countries, when they all separated and broke up, the Pope said, the empire has fallen. I'm losing control of the Catholics aren't protected. So I'm going to endorse all of these kings. And since I endorse them, God endorsed them, because the Pope is the embodiment of the church on earth. So when the kings would dispatch their armies to kill rebels, they were doing so under the guise that you were sinning against God. It wasn't that you were in rebellion against the king. It was you're going against God because you're questioning God's leader for you. This would allow people to do something about it if they don't like how the leadership of that node is doing things. People can do that. You get to change the leadership of your node by beating the leader in PvP, by buying the leader's seat, by becoming more popular than the leader and winning popular election, or by doing more service quests than the leader and getting the job, depending on what type of node you live in. Now, if you're upset with, and here's where this sense of 2020's millennial entitlement goes. If you're upset about the way another node's leadership is working, foo-foo kachoo, I'm happy for you that you're upset that the way that node is being run. Do something about it. People are like, well, I can't declare war. Well, that guy's whole thing is that it should be the result of political intrigue. Well, war is just the continuation of politics by other means, by violence. But nothing stops you from declaring war. It just stops you from declaring war while you remain a citizen of the vassal node. Remember, you just leave. You're not a tree. You don't have roots. You go somewhere else. But what if the leader isn't doing a good job? If the territory is growing, then it will be a step back, and revolution just caught because some people didn't like the king. Meant that the node is in a bad situation. Could be possible. So not quite sure where you're going with that. If the leader is doing good, everybody benefits. And remember, you're going to have shitty leaders. You're going to have to get rid of shitty mayors. You're going to see a lot of people, about 60 of them by my math. You're going to see about 60 mayors per server if my math metric works out right, give or take. There's a lot of people who think they could do mo better. There's a lot of people who think that they could do mo better, and they're going to find out very quickly that they can't do mo better because it ain't easy. Jack Nicholson, The Departed, Heavy Lies the Crown. A lot of people are going to say, I think I could do better. And then you're going to be like, okay, we'll do it. 60 mayors, that sounds like a large chance of triggered happening. Yeah, there's 103 nodes on a server. They don't get leadership until they're level 3, and not every node can develop. So doing some math and breaking it down and playing around with, octagons on a mapping sheet, I figure that there's going to be about 60 nodes level 3 or above. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong, but I tend to be close to the answers. So let me drop this and then let me sit. Starting off the shows standing up makes me feel like I got more energy. Man, it was freezing out. My daughter is sick. She's not feeling good. So I'm doing like her chores for her, like putting out the trash and stuff I haven't done in years. And I'm like, all my time. Sorry, Cloud. All right. That question was, what do you think the lowest pop node could be? The lowest population node will be somewhere in the neighborhood of between 58 and 108. A level 3 node. A level 3 node has in it 8 cottages, the base apartment of 50, and then however many freeholds you can put in the wild. And since we don't know how many freeholds you can put in the wild, I'm going to guess that's 50. On that one, guys, I'm going to admit it is a total wag. It is a wild ass guess. It is a wild ass guess that there's going to be spots for 50 freeholds and a stage 3 node. But yeah, you're going to be looking at the stage 3 nodes having a population of sub 200. Now, when you hit a stage 4 node, the mayor has the option to build. The mayor has the option to build the instanced apartments. And once the instanced apartments are built, that opens up a lot more housing for people to come in. So node wars could be guild wars, though a node will have a castle looking after it, most likely given enough time, as in larger node would be vested in its smaller nodes. So lots of things there. Let's unpackage some of that. Yes, node wars, guild wars, node sieges. The king can get involved directly in node sieges. Remember, if you need to brush up on your PvP themes, Ashes 101 has all the PvP themes broken out. A node war and a node siege are two different things. I hate to be a jerk and say this, but if you're not getting your information from the wiki or Ashes 101 or directly from Steven, and the Ashes post, the Ashes Shaz and his team does a really good job with the straight translation or transcriptions. If you're not getting your information from like one of those 3 sources and you're on some of these like haven't been updated since 2018 websites, get off of those. Yell at the owners and say, man, either fix your shit or take it down. There's one website out there that says at the end of a node war, the siege starts. And that's not how, I don't know where the hell that came from. I just know that that is not the case. And that's some of those elitist people in the Discord. When I first joined the Discord, I consumed everything. I consumed everything I could find, and then they're all telling me I'm wrong, and Steven jumped in. I remember Steven was like, no, he's right. Steven didn't even know who I was. He was like, no, he's right. Node sieges and node wars are two different things. So node wars are when citizens of one node are engaged in legal combat with citizens of another node. However, it has nothing to do with the destruction of the node itself. You can destroy resources, assets, buildings, structures, because remember, those can all be rebuilt. You can disrupt a node with a node war, but if you want to make the node go away or de-level, you have to do that through a node siege, or you have to keep all of its buildings destroyed, all of its people dead long enough that it incurs atrophy and it dies. During a node siege, the regional monarch can get involved directly by paying for walls, paying for gates, paying for siege equipment, opening up recipes for siege equipment, opening up mercenaries, paying for mercenaries, both NPC mercenaries and PC mercenaries. Because remember, if the king's got a bunch of gold, he can pull a portion of that out every week. The king might have, like a guy like me, I'm going to have a running ledger of how much I'm going to pull out the max every week that I can pull out, but I'm going to tell the peeps that are in my region, I'm going to say, hey, I pull out the max I can pull out every week so that I have it out of the system. So I can pay, I can pay for the second sons to show up and defend your node for you. I can't do that with in-system currency. I got to have the out-of-system currency to pay other players. Now, would a larger node be vested in its smaller nodes? Yes, a good parent node is going to be vested in its smaller nodes. Here's my usual node by the sea example, and I'm the mayor of this city on the coast, and we have a very lucrative business for several reasons. We have a port, we're a port city, we have a harbor, we can make ships, we can launch ships. We might even be able to launch some of those ships that Steven hasn't publicly talked about yet. We have a very good working relationship with the two nodes down the Yellow Brick Road. The one in the middle is a lumber company, so I don't have any lumbering facilities in the city. I don't have them there because I have a limited number of constructible plots as the mayor. So I haven't put any lumbering facilities in the city. You got to go down the Orange Brick Road or the Yellow Brick Road to that outpost looking thing, that town looking thing with some walls. And you have to go there if you want to do lumber refinement. And we keep the Orange Brick Road safe. My personal people, the mayor's guard, we run that road. We pay some people to guard it. And then when you go down the road even further, you've got that little village. And that little village, you notice that it's situated on the base of the mountains. It's like gray. It's like walking your way up. We don't have any smelting facilities in the city either, because I don't have space for it. I used up my mayor plots, my constructibles plots with the harbor, the shrine, the unique building. So I have good relations with my two vassal nodes so that they keep the facilities open that we need. So when we need iron, silver, gold, mithril, we go down to that little village in the white area and we say, hey, we're here to buy. And they're like, hey, we're here to sell. And then they say to us, hey, since you're going back anyway, can you escort a couple of caravans for us? Because we got goods we want to bring to the coast, So it's a symbiotic relationship. I'm not just gonna get off of my mayoral seat and say, let's go fuck with the people that are in our zone of influence. Because what good does that do me? What good does it do me to be a douche canoe mayor who tries to rule with an iron fist? Because here's where the issue comes in. If I start being a dick in that city, the mayor of the town that has the nearest smelting facility does one of these and says, fuck you. And they crush, they burn down, they destroy, they reallocate their smelting facility, or they keep their smelting facility up, but they jack the prices up. It's a small node. It's going to be like the Cheers bar. Everybody knows your name. Now, as a mayor, because I was a dick to the little town supplying our iron, now my people start bitching at me because they're like, hey, your mayorship, we were paying 5 gold an ore, or 5 gold an ingot for iron until you were a dick, and now we're paying 15 gold an ingot because they won't sell it any cheaper. Now, some people would say, well, I'll just go mine it myself. Okay. But remember, not all buildings provide all resources to non-citizens. So you live in the city, that might be a 2-hour trek down that gold road, or it might be an hour trek, or it might be 45 minutes. You really want to spend 45 minutes getting to where you need to mine and then bring it back and then hope that you can smelt it? A symbiotic relationship is going to be beneficial. If the middle node were to level faster than the port node, has there been any word if the middle node will be able to build a remote port? No. If the middle node, if this configuration changed, the city on the coast gets destroyed, it reduces to level 0. The 4 that's on the brick road becomes a 5. Now everything shifts, and now there's no coastal city, then there's no harbor. If you're not on the coast, you don't have a harbor. So that I believe is the driving factor. That I believe is the driving factor about why Stephen has said, you can launch your boat from any dry land. It doesn't have to be from a harbor, because it's possible that you're going to have to work your ass off. Now, will you be able to find a harbor somewhere in the world? Yes, I'm sure that in this map, let's use this map. I'm sure in this map configuration, Stephen has set it up where because remember, in every zone of influence, in every one of these, even though you only see one black dot on this map, in every zone of influence, there's 2 or 3 places where the node may form, but there is only one center of civilization per zone of influence. So I'm sure there are some layouts where, like you see that purple one, it's right on the water. I'm sure there are some zones of influence where the only place a node can develop is on the water, so we will have some guaranteed ports. Well, some guaranteed ports if that zone of influence pops a node. Are you going to have to do a lot of world shaping on some servers? Yes. Thanks for explaining this in depth. I can't tell you how many people think they can make a one-stop shop. There are so many people right now in Ashes of Creation that are so undereducated, and I have zero sympathy. I have zero sympathy for people that are uneducated about Ashes of Creation, because I'm a free resource. Ashes101.com, the wiki, the Ashes post. Myself and Smurg do a ridiculous amount of streaming of the show. The two most knowledgeable streamers. And I get, sometimes, and I really want to thank Lex, Nostradamus, and the wiki team. A side effect of them doing those quizzes is it stops a lot of people from being like dicks about, well, what makes you think you're so smart? Well, I have a 96 test average. And then people are like, Never mind. I mean, it's one thing to say you're knowledgeable. It's another thing that you've passed tests. It's kind of funny. There's quizzes out there you can take. I've passed them. I have a 96 test average. Let me see where we're at. Sparky's up on the roof. Thank you for lurking, Sparky. Afternoon. Do you think there will be some river ports? River ports. River ports is a very fun discussion for me. Can we put a pin in that? Because I have information you don't have that I can share with you, but I don't want to share with you because I don't want to put Steven on the spot. Yes, I think you will be able to send ships upriver. Yes, I believe you're going to be able to send ships upriver. I will say that. I absolutely believe that. So I believe that. Have I played the recent alpha? The only thing I can tell you is the recent alpha testing was on December 18th through December 21st. I can tell you that Intrepid pack holders were allowed to test during that test period. And I can tell you that I have owned an Intrepid pack since the Necromancer cosmetics. Beyond that, I can't tell you anything else. So those are all the answers you need. And I don't know why we have raptors up here. So, will there be any pre-built NPC cities, some massive ones, or is it all player made? There will be some NPC locations, usually of the minor races or bandits or brigands. Now, they will be points of interest. They will not be cities. They will not be functional cities in the way that a node stage 5 is a city. They will not be node centers of civilization. They will be centers of NPC civilization, including the 5 castles that you have to take from the inhabitants at launch, some minor race stuff, some brigand stuff. But no, the centers of civilization, as far as the players are concerned, are all player made. You have to assume some rivers are wide enough for a small port for downriver trading. Maybe. The level of monsters is relative to the level of nodes. Yes and no, Dirty Rotten Scalawag, which I love your name, by the way. The level of monsters scales with the level of the node, in so much that a level 1 node is going to have level 1 through, these are my numbers, a level 1 node is going to have level 1 through level 10 content. And a level 2 node is going to have level 1 through level 20 content. And a level 6 node is going to have a level 1 through level 50 plus content. Every node has level 1 content in it. It has level 10, level 20, level 30. There will not be a time where you accidentally stumble into a part of the world where there is no content for you to do. Now, is a level 6 node, is a metropolis where that level 1 character wants to be living? Maybe, maybe not. But remember, there's nothing that stops artificially where these metropolis nodes form. So here is your 4 spots on the map. If you want to look up the map and see where stuff is, I have markers so you can see where these are. And then these are a zoom in of the starter camp areas so that you can see where those starter camps are. There will be nodes. There will be nodes developing. You could walk out of your divine gate and live right after you get it outside of the starter camp. You could very easily, once you get outside of the divine gate, you could very easily find yourself in a metropolis zone of influence. The trick to that is the content will be such that you're not going to walk out of a divine gate and get hit with the level 50 mob. They're not going to do that. They can manually force the world to not do that. So keep that in mind. Some people were worried about that. No, you can't, because they have the ability to have 5 static locations, these 4 that you see, plus the Tulnar in the Underrealm. They know what they want. They have the ability to just say, like, here's my magic stick. I stick it in the ground, and I want this area, no matter what this world looks like, only level 1 to 5 or level 1 to 10 content can be around those 4 points, or then the 5th one that we can't see. So they have the ability to do that, just so people don't freak out, which is a good thing. Otherwise, you could end up with the way the world pushes, pulls, twists, turns, bends. You could like walk out of a divine gate and be looking at a level 50 dragon and be like, the fuck, bro. Let's see. So raid members that are outside defending the raid group from griefers, will those defenders get corruption for PvPing? Depends. It depends on a lot of factors. I want to keep reminding people that Ashes of Creation is not a vacuum. And a lot of people keep thinking that the game is going to be a vacuum. So let's just do some breakdown here. And we're going to test my art skills to the maximum. So here is our wonderful area that we live in. Oh, no. That's not our area. So here is our area that we live in. And right, we've got lush grasslands aplenty, and we have our node, right? Now this is your part of the world. This is the part of the world that you live in. So this is your node. You live here, and I really should do these in Incarnate. You live here, and there's a snack. There's a snack boss, right? And you take your orange stars, because you're the Orange Star Guild, and you take your orange stars out there to kill the purple snack. And unfortunately, the green arrows, they want this boss too. They want it's a snack. They want this boss too. Now the problem is that the first time this happens, you guys are gonna squabble, and you guys are gonna start squabbling as purples, and then you're gonna end up killing a green, and you're gonna end up having a corruption fight, and blah blah blah. Right? Now, here's what's gonna happen in like 6 days' time when the purple snack spawns again. You guys are gonna go through this bullshit fight, corruption inevitably happens, and then you're gonna keep doing it. Well, then here's what's gonna happen. The green arrows are gonna say, enough of this shit. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. So we declare war. The green arrows have sent a war to the orange stars. Now, the next time that these guys fight, this is all consensual, no corruption combat. Now, I want to go a little bit further, because I don't want to make the same mistake that other people do. I'm going to add even more. So look at the concepts we're dealing with right now. We're going to get rid of this. And we started off, right? We started off with one theme. We started off with the PvE theme for the snack, right? We started off with our snack. Then we moved into a PvP theme. Oh, before we went into a PvP, we went into the corruption PvP theme, right? And then we opened up the war theme, the guild war theme. Now, here's the other problem, right? There is a node just over, we don't want to do green because then it's going to all blend in. There is a node just over the either the zone of influence or the regional boundary. There's a node that is able to declare wars. So it's a level 3 or above. Now this could be either, we're going to do this as world, right? This can be either a zone of influence or a different region, right? And now from this new node, right, we've got the dreaded purple triangles, right? And everybody fears the purple triangles. And they've heard about this Sneck boss, and they've heard about the green arrows, and they've heard about the orange stars, and they don't want to fuck around with declaring war on either of these two guilds. They've done their research, and they realize that the majority of these two guilds live in this node, so they send over their own war deck. And now, over this one world boss, we have a guild war, and we have a node war. And remember I said yesterday, guys, sometimes you're going to be involved in a war. The green arrows and the orange stars, they're involved in a war, and they're each like 150, person guild. So between them, right, they've got about 300 people. The problem is that this node has got like 750 people. These two guilds can't continue to be squabbling with each other over purple Sneck, because when the blue triangles show up, they are bringing 300. Individually, they can wipe either guild, kill purple Sneck, go into the node, burn down stuff. I guess smoke should be gray, huh? Burn down stuff. Now you see how all of the themes in the game are happening at the same time. A lot of people keep saying, well, when I'm not PvPing and I'm not doing and I keep trying to explain to them, this isn't a game where each thing happens in sequential order. They happen simultaneously. For example, the best moment of my entire EVE career was jumping in 50 dreadnoughts onto a fight. And one side thought I was jumping in to help them, but they hadn't paid my contract. My contract, our mercenary contract, was expired by about 7 days. And we weren't going to anything. We were just hanging out. And so this side thought I was jumping in to help them. And this side had contracted me. And these guys, little Sino, jumped to it, landed, didn't start shooting at anybody. We're just chilling. We're just sitting there. Then I start getting the frantic, why aren't you firing? I haven't been told to fire yet. I'm telling you to fire. You can't tell me to fire. The fuck do you mean? Your contract expired like 7 days ago. We don't have a contract. But you jumped to my Sino. Thanks for lighting me a Sino. The other guys are like, yeah, please open fire. All right, well, that's how it goes, man. It's how it goes. Let's see. Thanks for the monster level info. My plan is day 1 to move away from the starter zone and set up a pirate haven on a coastal area. We'll see if that plan survives first contact with the enemy. Good. I'm glad to see that you know that no battle ready plan ever survives first contact. Are there going to be guild caps? Yes, 300. Or benefits to help small guilds combat larger guilds? Or is it going to be like Last Oasis, mega guilds rule anything that's worth wanting kind of thing? Okay, so number 1, we don't have a lot of information, but again, that's another one I would recommend Ashes 101 for. The guilds page has as much information really as I have. I can shore up a little bit of it. If you take all of the combat buffs, and I don't want to say combat buffs, if you take all of the guild buffs and no size increases, your guild's going to be about 30 to 50 people. If you take all of the size buffs, then your guild's going to be 300 people. An alliance. Now, guys, I really need you all to be good stewards of this because words matter. A guild is an in-game collection of no more than 300 people. An alliance is an in-game mechanic of no more than 4 guilds and thus no more than 1,200 people. Now, some people say, what about like gaming or what about guilds that have like 2,000 people? You got to get rid of the word guild there. You got to call them gaming organizations. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have bad information. A group of 2,000 people in Ashes of Creation is numerous guilds in numerous alliances that are working together. Because remember, if you have 2,000 people in your guild, you're going to have to form at least eight guilds. Well, 7 guilds. At least 7 guilds, and you're going to have 2 alliances. This becomes important because if I have Paradox 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I have 300 people in each, that's great. But if I'm involved in a guild war, only the 300 people that are in Paradox 1 are involved in that guild war. If Paradox 2, 3, and 4 want to get involved in that guild war, they all have to declare on the first guild. And we haven't seen anything about the guild declaration stuff, but I'm sure Steven's going to make it as fair as possible. A guild of 2,000 people is almost impossible to manage. No, it's not. For good leaders can manage 2,000 people because good leaders aren't managing 2,000 people. Good leaders are managing much smaller groups of people because you don't lead when you manage and you don't manage when you lead. Leadership and management are totally different bits and pieces. I was a manager when I was an NCO. I was not a manager when I was an officer. There's a huge difference between the art of leadership and the art of management. Management can be taught. Leadership can be refined, but there are people who will never be leaders. There are people who just simply cannot learn to be leaders. They don't have the makeup, they don't have the acumen, they don't have the je ne sais quoi to be a leader. They just do not. And there's nothing you're gonna do with bad leaders to suddenly make them good leaders. It's just not gonna happen. Guild Wars was in the first test. They said so in the boss video. Yes. Like you said, it's an organization. A leader leading thousands of people, totally agree, but you doing that with in-game tools will not be efficient. You need to delegate, such as like you said, you split the org into multiple guilds. Yes, exactly. You split the organization into multiple guilds, just like you do, just like in a 250 person fight, right? In a 250 person fight, you're going to have, and I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't imagine if they can't get castle sieges above 250, I imagine they'll drop it to 240 because then you'll have six versus 6 raids. If their raid group is going to be 40, you can count on their fight for castle sieges is going to be divisible by 40. But if you're in the castle siege fight, a good leader is going to have 6.25 raids. A good leader isn't going to be isn't going to be in one of the 6 full ones. A good leader is going to be in that quarter filled in that quarter filled, that 10-person raid, so that basically they're not fighting, they're watching, they're organizing. In fact, you would have, if you had good comms set up, you would have 6 channels. You would have 6 channels on your TeamSpeak. Each channel would have 40 people in it. You would have more than likely, without knowing the fight setup specifically, you would have 2 categories. You would have 3 channels in each category, so that one guy, the shot caller in 1 and the shot caller in 4 can channel commander down all 3 channels. And then the guy at the top can channel commander down into all 6 channels. But I will only hear from at most 6 and as few as 2. I might only hear from number 1 and number 4, and they feed me information based on the assignments I've given them. All right, 1, you're the front breach team. 4, you're the back in the east wall. And you're like, well, what do they do with that? Frost, you're taking group 1, and you're gonna just hold the front gate. That's the only instruction I need to give Frostpaw. You're taking group 1, and you're holding the front gate. He knows he's got 120 people. I don't give a shit what he does. I don't care what tactics he uses. I don't care what he does, but he knows he's going to hold the front gate. I don't care if he needs to sing him a song, if he has to tell him a story, if he has to cook him or brew him tea, bake him a cake. I don't want those guys coming in the front gate. You have 120 people to hold the front gate. 4, you have 4, 5, and 6. You need to protect the other 3 walls. If you do roving patrols, if you do statics, if you deploy siege equipment, that's on you. It's on you. That's your job. It's like in that Eve video I showed, where they're trying to hold their system. It's like, that's your primary. Well, what are you doing? I'm watching everything else. Hey, Frost, I need 3 to move to the south wall. And I don't say that to group 3. And I don't say it to group 3's commander. I say it to Frost, because that way I say, Frost, I need you to move group 3 to the south wall. He responds with confirmed, or he responds with unable. I'm overrun. Okay, well, shit, we're about to lose the south wall. That's when I go with my group of 10 people, and I'm like, all right, boys, we're going to the south wall. We're all we got. And then, or you put it out, if you have to, depending on where people are, any available need to move to the south wall. And then 2, 3, 5, and 6 will hear the any available, and if they are working with their comm lead, 3 might be like, I'm gonna move to the south wall, and Frost will say, no, we don't have this. 6 might say, I'm moving to the south wall, and 4 will be like, all right, confirmed. And then in 4's head, 4 has to keep track of where 6 is now. See what I'm saying? These are going to be large, complicated fights. If you think that these fights are going to be 250 people stacking up on top of 250 people and it being like a 2-hour gangbang of a Zerg fest, then you're going to be the guy that loses his castle in record time because you don't even know your south wall has been crushed, and I'm in the channeling room and I'm channeling away. You're going to see that message pop up on the screen that says, Jahlon of Paradox has started the channel, and you're going to be like, how the fuck did he get in the castle? And now you realize in the first 7 minutes, I just deployed 3 catapults or 3 trebuchets to the back of your castle, and you weren't watching your whole thing. You were more concerned with the slamming into each other. By the time you turn around, I already broke your south wall. Guess where the rest of that fight is going to be for the rest of the day? Most of it's going to be at your south wall. You can't keep us out. So if people are thinking this is going to be like Arcage or BDO, these castles are going to be huge. I would not be surprised if their ultimate decision is to take these fights and put them instanced so that they can more easily seamlessly instance them across multiple servers. That way you don't have 500 people fighting on one server. You have 500 people fighting across 6 seamless instances. So, a little bit there. That's like a person who says they have 1,000 friends because Facebook says so. Oh, by the way, guys, I found what I was looking for yesterday on Facebook. I found what I was looking for. Now the question is, can I find it again? Can I find it again? Shit. Oh yeah, I found it. So the thing that oh, it's still not available. God damn it. They disavowed notes a while ago. And so now I'm waiting for my old notes. Like, I've requested them. I don't know if I'm ever going to get them back. That's the thing that pisses me off. They're like, oh yeah, use this feature. And then for years I used it. Now they're like, oh, never mind. Just kidding. Just joshing. Ah. Is this map up to date? I can't find the alpha zone on it. That map is up to date. That is a conceptual map. That is a conceptual map. It's the same one you see right here. Mine just looks cooler because Noodle Guitar took the lines off of it. So yeah. Now you're looking for you're looking for this. You're looking for this on this map. This is an Alpha 1 play area. Remember that they can push, pull, move things very easily in alpha testing. But remember, this is a conceptual map. This is a conceptual map. Not a, this is what the map is going to look like. This is a conceptual map. The world is going to change a little bit. The world is going to change a little bit as we move forward. Hold on a second. I'm getting a flash warning that I don't care about. The more highly contagious strain of COVID has been identified in Colorado. So if you live in Colorado, Frost, who's probably sleeping because he's got that JOB thing that he does. Yeah, F in chat for Colorado and Florida and Cali now. Yeah, I don't have my I got that one. Somebody decided I absolutely needed to know the Colorado thing. My phone is still set up from when I was active duty, so there's certain things that my Bixby automatically will feed me because of filters I put in my phone, but I was busy all morning. I was making a video about dinosaurs. I want to show you. You guys want a spoiler? You want a spoiler from you guys want a spoiler for the intro for today's video? Or do you want to be surprised? I'm gonna give you a spoiler. If you don't want the spoiler from today's video, come back in about a minute. Paradox.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a precautionary measure and for your safety, please proceed to your nearest shelter.
I'm having too much fun with dinosaurs. I'm working ICU, sometimes COVID units. I'm concerned that I won't be able to play much Ashes when it comes out. So let me tell you this. COVID is the new common cold. It's going to take years and years and years and years and years for people to develop herd immunity to it. Some people are going to jump all over and say, well, what about the vaccine? I'm not taking a first generation vaccine. Go fuck yourself. Sorry. If it's something that I have a 98% chance of living through, I'll continue to be responsible. I'll continue to wear a mask. I'll continue to isolate. I'll continue to stay the fuck away from you. I'll continue to do what I've done for my entire life and wash my hands. because I'm George Carlin now that George is dead. God rest his soul. I don't shy away from people when they cough and they sneeze because I understand what infection control is. I wash my hands. I touch as little as possible in public. I use soap, not hand sanitizer, because hand sanitizer is just causing. Hand sanitizer kills 99.99% of shit. Well, guess what happens to the 0.01% of shit? That's where you get resistant strains. So, and you'll continue to unknowingly pass it to those that are also like-minded, but who may have underlying conditions. Now, if only everyone felt the way you do. Except if you're saying I'm going to continue to unknowingly pass it, no, because I maintain maximum precautions. I don't go out in public. I socially distance. I stay 20 some odd feet away from people. That's not called COVID. That's called Jahlon. That's called me in life. I don't engage with people. So, it's almost impossible if you're properly wearing. It's almost impossible if you're properly wearing a mask for you to infect anybody else. Let me also give you some anecdotal but very important evidence. My wife has COVID, tested positive. We sleep in the same bed. We sleep in the same room. If it was as, oh my God, what the fuck, as everybody says it is, how do I not have it? My daughter tested negative. We got her test results back. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. The wiki claims that the alpha zone is already 100 kilometers squared. From the videos, didn't feel that massive. Makes me wonder how big the map will really be. Okay, so how is the map going to feel that massive if they haven't done a video specifically designed to show you how big the map is? The alpha zone is 100 kilometers squared. If it is or if it isn't, that's what the wiki claims. But unless Steven specifically said, all right, guys, what's going to happen is I'm going to take you on a tour of the border. And he deliberately started you off, ran to a border, ran around. You would never have any idea how big that feels. Does the 480 kilometer, it's 480, not 400. Does the 480 kilometer square estimate also include the underground zones? No. Again, I love this. I love being able to do this. Ashes 101. Ashes, what the hell? There. Ashes 101, I have a page called The World of Vera. The underrealm is 100 square kilometers. The map you see here is representative of 480 square kilometers. I hear in an AOC vid, it's like 5 times the Skyrim map. Here's why comparing one game map to another game map is absolutely pointless. So you have one game map. You have one game map that's 100 square kilometers. And you have another game map that's 50 square kilometers. But in the 100 square kilometer map, you move at a kilometer a minute. And in the 50 square kilometer map, you move at 100 meters per second. So the 50 square kilometer map is going to feel a lot bigger because you move at 10 times the speed. So your map is half the size, but you move at 10 times the speed, or 1/10 of the speed. I know, but it was from the AOC stream, so they said themselves. Yeah, don't. Again, it doesn't matter what they said. If they gave you this map is the size of this, it doesn't matter, because it's like the real quick example. My daughter's walk to school is exactly 1 mile. From my door, out the subdivision, up the street to the back door of the school is exactly 1 mile. Except if my daughter walks to her friend's house, she can cut through her friend's yard and she cuts half of the trip off. So effectively, she doubled her travel speed, or she cut her distance down. when you say one map is one size, one map is another size, let me do this. 480 in miles. And that is 185 divided by 14.5. So the Ashes map is actually 12.75 times the Skyrim map. It's 12.7 times the Skyrim map. But again, what does that matter? At the end of the day, what does that matter? Because I don't know the travel speed in Skyrim. I don't know. I know the travel speed in Ashes. I don't know the travel speed in Skyrim. So is it really 12.75, or do you move at 1 meter per second in Skyrim? And then some people are going to say, well, I can get that information. The other thing you got to remember is if the games aren't built in the same engine, the games aren't built by the same developer, the developers are just giving you an arbitrary number. You'd have to have both games in the same engine moving at the same speed, and then you'd be like, oh, that's the relevance of the game maps. Like somebody once pointed out, where Blizzard talks about the size of their original map, the vanilla map, but they're talking about border to border all the way around, all that blank space in the middle. They weren't talking about the two continents chopped down in legitimate size. So if I take the Ashes map, if there's no content to do in the water, then all of that water is null space. But in a game like Ashes, we know there's content in the water, pirates and krakens and sharks and leviathans and whatever else. So the water becomes content. But if you can't access the areas that they're showing and they're like, oh yeah, our from corner to corner and top to bottom, it's this big. Yeah, but I can't go into those spaces. Let's see. In GTA, the map is huge, but if you drive a car, you get in a few minutes to the other side. Yeah. In Cyberpunk 2077, the map is fucking huge. But if you use the fast travels, once you've been somewhere once and you can fast travel there, the world becomes really, really small. I try not to fast travel. I like listening to the radio, jumping out of the car, beating the shit out of thugs, accidentally killing police officers, finding out that when you kill enough police officers in Cyberpunk 2077, the fucking buildings have guns. Like, what the fuck? So I've lost faith in games. Most highly anticipated games just become such a letdown. I hope this turns out to be good. I want it to be good, but play really well. I agree with you. There is something to be said about the community and their decision to blitz the massively OP fan award for the most highly anticipated game, Ashes of Creation. There is something to be said about why that was a bad idea. Now, some people are going to say, well, if you think it's a bad idea, why did you support it? Well, number one, it was gonna win by vote, whether I supported it or not. So if you're gonna win something, you might as well win it by a couple of touchdowns. Don't win it by a field goal. Win it by like 21. Win it by like 28. Have a blowout. So for the massively OP Player Choice Award, you might as well fucking put up a whole lot of votes. And I think we did. And we is the royal we. Let me look it up. I'm pretty certain that a huge margin. Yeah, Ashes of Creation has 2,214 votes for the most anticipated MMO of 2021 and beyond. Pantheon has 710. Now, let me say a couple of things to that. Ashes should have a whole fuckload more because for me, that's not very representational of how many people are on the Discord. It's less than 10% of the active members on the Discord. So, yeah, I would have liked to have seen that poll hit like 10,000. Remember I said just before the end of the year, I said 2021 needed to be the year that everybody crept into the year slowly, kept their voices down, kept their hands to themselves, and for God's sake, nobody claimed 2021 is their year. Let's just be good boys and good girls and not get any more attention from whatever celestial being is fucking with our planet right now. Let's just be chill. Let's just be Fonzie, right? Let's everybody just be fucking chill. The problem with putting Ashes back on center stage with a most anticipated award is that you put Ashes back on center stage and what? And what? And then? What's the and then? Intrepid needs to keep their head in the tall grass, be a raptor, be a clever girl, just keep their head down until they have the next and then. They don't have an and then. So you win the MMORPG, most anticipated MMORPG of 2021 and beyond, and then what? You don't have it. And that's what I think a lot of times people with good intentions forget that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Steven has a creative director's letter due out in 5 days. I am praying that he doesn't reopen Alpha 1 sales or promise to in that letter. I know a lot of you want access to Alpha 1. I know a lot of you have signed up for Ashes of Creation after watching my show, and I thank you for that. Oh, it must be on the screen somewhere. I do thank you for that because it, long term, you signing up for Ashes of Creation using my referral code, long term benefits the Paradox Gaming Network forever. Forever. So it means a lot to me. It helps what pays the bills, the little things that drag on a content creator, like the license for your SSL on your website, your domain registration, your hosting, your email account, all of that shit that just nickel and dimes you. The fact that I like zero cost to my viewer solutions. Like I just got my Epic Games creator code. So if you're going to buy a game at the Epic Games store, you throw Jahlon 27 in the creator box, I get a kickback. Doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't raise the price of your game by 5%. So I like zero cost. I like zero cost solutions. The referral thing is a huge zero cost solution. Shit. The Lazy Peon probably is, as soon as Ashes goes live and he starts getting his referral money, that dude's just going to be able to retire. He's going to be like, yep, done. I'm finished. I never have to make another video again. Thank you. But you sign up. You want Alpha 1. First of all, Alpha 1's going to come out. Alpha 1's going to cost $500, and it's going to start that hoopla again of, oh my God, I can't believe they're charging us so much money to play. Well, they're not charging you that much money to play. They're charging you that much money to test. With that, I understand a lot of people balk at the idea of $500 to get into an alpha. It's expensive. Remember, they're doing no box price. You are a have contributing to the development of a game so that a lot of have-nots will have a low barrier to entry. I don't mind paying $500. I don't mind the fact that I paid $500 for my alpha because I've already made that money back. I've already made that money back by the YouTube and the Twitch, the exposure of being ultimately the Ashes of Creation guy. I am the Ashes of Creation guy. So I've made mine back. Now is Twitch being ridiculous again today to you guys? Twitch is being ridiculous to you guys. Broken again. I can't What is going on? Like, what is going on with Twitch lately? Did they forget to pay the bill? Did one of the hamsters die? So, anyway, people are going to balk at the $500. So remember, I said when something, you need to have all the and thens. You have to have all the and thens lined up. So Ashes of Creation wins MMORPG, most anticipated MMORPG. And what do they do with that? They don't have an and then yet. The main two games that I played both went to shit because the devs are doing the opposite of what people want. So I'm really glad Intrepid devs seem to take players' feedback to heart. Intrepid devs listen to feedback. However, always be careful when you say the devs are doing the opposite of what the people want. You don't know where the devs are getting their feedback. I personally believe in benchmarking the most effective things should be benchmarked. RuneScape does this the best. You log in, they ask you a question, you answer. RuneScape has like a 70+% response rate on one of their products. What is it? Old school RuneScape that has about 110,000 concurrent players. They've got like over 70% responded to their survey. So that is an amazing ratio. Every company should get data that way because there's no reason not to. There is no reason not to get your feedback that way. You should absolutely get your feedback that way. With that said, Intrepid listens to their community, which is good. However, people need to understand that one day they're going to get heartbroken by Intrepid because the people are going to want something changed and it's going to be a hard no. It's going to be one of those things that violates a design principle. And Intrepid's going to be like, no, sorry, we're not bending on this one. We're not changing on this one. We're not going that direction. We're not going there. That's not happening. So I think people need to just remember that while Intrepid does do good business with listening and responding to people, people need to not assume every single time will Intrepid do what it looks like the people want. And then it's like the people who don't understand, the people who don't know marketing, who don't know business, who don't know the long game. There's no negative side effect of them reopening Alpha 1. Yes, there is. There's a huge side effect of them reopening Alpha 1. Just because you don't see that, they're like, oh, well, more money means good. Well, what if I told you you could have $20 today, or I'd give you $2 million on the last day of the year? Contractually, you either take $20 today or you take $2 million on the last day of the year. I don't know anybody who would take $20 today and give up $20 at the end of the year. So you got to remember, sometimes you win today and you lose long term. So that's actually why on my Jahlon on channel, down underneath the picture, I did a piece on Archer G. Jones's there's one rule of conduct for a man quote. A lot of people forget that. You do something today, you barter the infinities. I think you all like died again. Ripped stream chat again. Yes, a single computer in the network has the wrong date and time. All right, guys, if what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the Discord over. I'm going to bring the Discord link over. If you guys aren't on the Discord, just chat in general today. Chat in general today, and I'll put the Discord up on my other screen. This is not on me. This is on Twitch's end. I don't know what Twitch's problem is lately. I don't know what Twitch's problem is, but yeah, it looks like they're just getting spiked. Yeah, my chats aren't even going to can I grab, or if I can get it this way. View docs chat. Oh yeah, I can't even connect to chat. So if you guys can hear me, and you obviously can't see the Discord link I just posted because chat's down, but there's a Discord link down underneath the picture. Just chat in general. Okay, good. Yes, people can hear me. Excellent. Otherwise, that would suck if I'd been doing this like last 20 minutes of my show just talking to myself. No screen or chat. Video and audio is fine. Okay, good. Like, what the hell, Twitch? What are you doing? What are you doing, Twitch? Oh yeah, I can't even get my activity feed. I don't like how they designed the roads. What don't you like about the roads? I mean, keep in mind that the roads you're seeing, these are level like 0 or 1 roads. These are trails. These are trails. These are not the like interconnections. They look like perfect roads. No, those aren't even the roads, man. Those are gonna get they are gonna get better. I mean, remember, they gotta have the node system working for the nodes piece to pan out. I do agree they look a little perfect. I do agree they do look a little perfect. They should look a lot more disheveled. You just got off the roof. Hopefully I finally have it patched right and I don't have to mess with it until late spring when I redo the roof. Oh man, you got a leak in the roof? That sucks. That sucks. I got lucky on this house. I bought this house and I won't need a roof on this house for a few more years. My house out in Ohio, fucking Scam by Night company fixed the roof before I bought it. They only replaced a quarter of the roof. Who the fuck replaces quarter of a roof? If you're up there, just do all of it. But then I found out leaking new roof. I need to talk to a lawyer. This was supposedly a new roof. Oof. I think they didn't do much polish for this boss fight. No, they didn't do much polish for this boss fight. This boss fight is first pass. That's what I think the biggest flaw with what Intrepid is doing is. Intrepid is doing their best to try to explain to people that this is an alpha, from a Western developer. I can't think of the last time a Western company did an alpha before Ashes did. And I say that a marketing localization alpha is not an alpha. A marketing localization alpha is a marketing tool. It's a preview. It's a sales package. ArcAge's alpha was not an alpha. It was a sales package. Plain, simple, done. That's all it was. It was a sales package. It was for you to see alpha and for you to get your friends excited about this game. And that's all it was. And it's not what Intrepid is doing. It's not what Intrepid's doing, and it's not what Intrepid is doing, and it's not what Dynamite Studios, who the people doing Fractured, are. Now, because my community has told me that they don't want me mixing it up with just the bottom of the bottom feeders. One guy was like, he left a derogatory comment about Fractured, and he's like, I don't like the game. I was like, well, that's meaningless feedback. And then somebody else jumped in on it, and he's like, well, it doesn't need to be any more feedback. The game is just bad. Well, if the game is just bad, and you're not going to If you're not going to tell them why it's bad, then honestly, just shut the fuck up, because your feedback's pointless. Why is it bad? What can they improve on? If it's bad, then you take somebody who says it's bad, and you take somebody who says it's good, and you one for one bounce them off each other. And as long as at the end you have more people saying it's good than there are people saying it's bad, then you know that's then the law of averages, the law of the majority rule. Now, if you get feedback from 10,000 people and 9,900 of them say this is bad, it's probably bad. Especially if you only had 10,000 people testing and you got negative feedback from 9,900 of them. I can't think. Oh, I do feel this boss video could have been way better planned. What could have been way better planned with this boss video? I don't think there was. I disagree with you. I don't think there was anything else they could have. The balance of the party versus the boss. They didn't have enough people. They had. Remember, this is the developers doing. This is the developers doing footage. Okay. This is the developers doing footage. They wanted controlled footage. So, it felt like one of those let's mess around time where you do something you should be doing. No, I mean, this is where you do something you shouldn't be doing. No, I mean, I disagree with you. They showed off. They showed off a fight. They showed off content. While Twitch chat is down, join the Discord. Now let's make that a little bit more. There we go. See, this is where you just flex and you overcome. Love it. Oh, I felt like it's one of those. Yeah, keep in mind that they, while the alpha was scheduled, the key people involved took the time out to record the footage. Why not have developed an easier boss first then? Dude, I'm gonna be harsh. The fuck does it matter what they show? They're showing you the caliber of content you can expect to see. They do have easier bosses done. Back in Alpha Zero, we saw Sorrow's Hunger. We saw the dragon. They're building the content. They're showing you the content that they have built. I don't want... What did you want them to show you? What did they want you to show you? An 8-person dungeon? There's no winning with showing people stuff early. This is when you start to get well, then they're going to just treat you like a mushroom. They're going to feed you shit. They're going to keep you in the dark. There's nothing wrong with what they showed. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what they showed. It also showed you, if that is their objective, they kind of failed, because all I saw in this boss was a hit sponge. If all you saw was a hit sponge, then watch it again and watch it again and watch it again and watch it again. They're doing a 40-man fight with 7 people. They're doing a 40-man fight with 7 people. They don't have 40 developers that can all be all stream together. They're on vacation. You don't suddenly tell your people, at this time they did this, they weren't on vacation. But they're showing you that they're doing content, as well as they did not do the mechanics with the shards that they should attack. The fact that they didn't do the mechanic with the shards is fine. They don't necessarily, like, that's the double-edged sword of showing people anything early by the developers. If they show you the fight, now that we've seen this fight is automatically easier. It's automatically easier now when we get to this fight, because now we know if purple crystals drop on the ground, avoid them because they steal your mana and blow them up. The players didn't have to figure that out. The developers told us. Didn't they say it gets reworked? That's the other thing. This is a Western alpha. Every single thing that they do, they build, they implement, they deploy, will get testing data on it and will get tweaked. Somebody said, I don't think the boss's animations effects are good enough. The boss has only had, I would be willing to state that these guys these guys are just raw. The two lieutenants, I believe, based on when we saw their preview during the charity stream and now that we see their deployment, I believe that these guys are raw. These aren't even first pass. These are just raw implementation. So, I mean, if you're not happy with what you see, remember, I mean, all I can tell you is it's an alpha. They've shown us other content. They've shown us other bosses. They've shown, like, people complained that they kept showing us the same dungeon and we were seeing how that dungeon was developing. So now they show us something in the open world and people complain that they show us something in the open world. I mean, if that's how the overall consensus is going to become, then they should do what I told them to do in 2018, and they should just go dark and they shouldn't show anybody anything until later down. Yeah, this isn't for data collection. This right here is to show off a product in development. This is to show off a product that is being built. You're going to see this in 2020 because this is from last year. And then you're going to see this again sometime in the future. And you're going to be able to say, oh my God, this looks so much better. If they never showed you anything, if they never showed you anything in development, then your first impression would be the first time you see it. And I'm going to be honest, I believe gamers are incredibly unfair. I believe gamers are incredibly unfair because they can't differentiate in their brain what is a console game and what is an online game, what is an MMO and what is a shooter, what is a cyberpunk and what is a Jurassic World, what is a cyberpunk and what is an Ashes of Creation. Somebody wanted like action style fighting with knockbacks. And I said, you understand that shit works in a single player game because the only person the console gives a shit about telling you, or the only person the console gives a shit about informing is the one player. When you have a multiplayer game, you have to account for latency, ping, update delay. Because what you're seeing on your screen and what I'm seeing on my screen, I'm seeing myself in real time and I'm seeing your movements delayed because I've had to communicate with the server who had to communicate with your client, who had to communicate back to the server, who had to communicate back to me information. Yeah, Ragdoll would freak out if 10 guys with knockback hit one guy. Like that's why knockback and yesterday's guy with the knock up, it wouldn't work because the amount of time it takes, and some people are like, well, you're talking about like 0.2 of a second. You're talking about 0.2 of a second if the guy's got an amazing connection to the server. But what's going to happen if the guy you're hitting is playing with 300 millisecond lag, 300 ms? You're playing at 20. You guys all know what happens then. The guy you're trying to hit is rubber banding all the fuck around the screen because he's playing 45 miles outside of the nearest civilization in a third world country. And you're playing 20 minutes. You're playing 20 minutes by car from the server. You gotta remember, we don't have the technology yet We don't have the technology yet for everybody to play with like 10 millisecond lag. It'd be great. It'd be great if we did, man. It would be great if we had like faster than light communication. If we had the Ansible from Ender's Game. Starlink, fuck no. Go do your research. I'm not in the mood to do that lecture today. You will not get faster latency with Starlink. You cannot get the speeds that Starlink is promising, because unless Elon knows something I don't, Elon doesn't have the ability for faster than light communication. You cannot defy the laws of physics. You cannot suddenly make a message go around the planet by communicating with light faster than fucking light can travel around the planet, keeping in mind that a Starlink connection is going to have anywhere between 8 and 15 handoffs there and back. What are you talking about regarding being faster than light? Look up what Starlink has said their speeds can do, and then look up the speed of light around the planet. And the light can't travel as fast as they said in one of their promotional educational videos that they did. They said that a connection to the other side of the planet and back would be a 20 millisecond connection. Light can't travel that fast. Light cannot travel the distance that they are saying you can get in 20 seconds. So I want, this is the thing where you got to remember, there is marketing speak and there is reality. And when you tell me that a message to the far side of the planet and back is going to arrive faster than light can travel that distance, that dog doesn't hunt. Is Starlink going to help people who live in the fucking boondocks who don't have any internet? Yes, absolutely. Is Starlink going to help the camel farmer in the middle of the desert who's on a 4-day march be able to who is on a 4-day march across the land he owns, across the desert, bringing his camels to port? Is it going to help him be able to communicate because he's going to have a internet signal where normally he wouldn't have one? Yes, absolutely. Is Starlink going to allow every gamer to play with a 20 millisecond connection? No, it's not. Simply not possible. Asking for a lot of action, knockbacks, knockdowns, complete loss of character control. Imagine playing that fighting game where you have an opponent putting you in a corner, doing constant knockdowns from 100 to 0, and you can't do anything about it. Not fun. No, I personally think no one enjoys receiving a complete loss of control mechanic, but we accept it for the challenge. Yeah, and the thing with that is we know that there's diminishing returns on the CC. There is going to be hard CC in Ashes. There is going to be silences. There is going to be stuns. There is going to be roots. Well, a root isn't a hard CC. A root is technically a soft CC. But there is going to be stuns. There is going to be knockdowns. There is going to be fears. There's going to be imprisons. But there's going to be a diminishing return on those. So if you get knocked down and get back up, if it's a 2-second knockdown, you get knocked down, you get back up, and you get knocked down again, it'd only be either a 1-second knockdown or you have an immunity for X number of seconds before you can be knocked down again. They haven't discussed the combat mechanics and the diminishing returns. I love when people think satellite communication will be even remotely quick. I used to have to say over when I was done speaking on a dedicated sat phone. I hope all these people that think that they're going to be living next to ground stations for satellite communication ever want to have children, because there was the fucking standoff line around the satellite communications tent that literally it was like not just a thing. It was like the medical tape that's like got the medical warning on it. You don't go near the fucking ground sat stations unless you want to like fry the jewels. That knockback talk reminds me of my grenade build in Cyberpunk. You can perma CC cyber psychos with the grenades. My favorite thing to do with the grenades, man, is just drop them at my feet. The very first perk you should take is that you don't take the damage from your own grenades, because then it's just like, oh, you're running up and beating me? Drop it. Okay, get fucked. That issue with the constant CC was an issue in Black Desert for a long time. Now it's limited to X seconds of hard CC. Yeah, it was like that in Arcade as well before they put the 4-step diminishing returns. You enjoy your one-shot pistol build? All you people, man, get a cyber deck, get a legendary cyber deck, have 28 RAM, have all of your shit jump to 4 people, and then you do suicide, and then you just watch as they all click themselves away. In fact, do I have that? Let's see. Don't have it. I must have deleted it. Oh. This is the way. This is the way in Cyberpunk. That's just how it's done, man. Why should I waste bullets on you? Why should I waste bullets on you? Thank you. Go away. Let's see. Yeah, I'm talking about the safe RF distance. Depends on the wavelength, power output, the direction of the antenna, and the distance from the antenna and the exposure time. Yeah, you know my exposure time is at that point in my career when I still wanted to have kids. It was 0.0 seconds, and they always put it out the back fucking door. I was like, guys, we have like 400 acres of space. Go further than 2 feet out of my back door with this shit. So then I started really annoying them just before the exercises. I would park like 3 of the forklifts there, and they'd be like, well, what are these here for? Pre-staging? Well, this is where we usually set up the tent. I know. Fucking ironically, I know that. They're like, well, we can't set the tent up if you're going to have to move those forklifts out of here. It's fucking, I know. Ironically, I know that too. Fucking get the fuck off into the field, man. And they're like, well, at night when it's dark, we don't want to have to cross the parking lot to have to go to the bathroom. I said, well, if that's your thing, I'm just going to lock my door. But are you telling me that members of the world's greatest Air Force are afraid to cross a parking lot in the dark? You're on a secured facility, which is the base, inside of a secured fence, 50 feet from a secured facility. Who the fuck is getting you? Who are you afraid of? The lighted parking lot as well. Yeah, lighted parking lot inside of a controlled area where if any shadowy figures were moving, security forces would descend upon them because you're not supposed to fucking be there. Oh, and don't forget, we're the Air Force, so we wear a reflector belt everywhere. I nearly hit a TI. I'm at Lackland Air Force Base. I'm driving to a BMT squadron to meet a TI friend of mine. I was a lieutenant. I just gotten my commission. He was a TI. I was going to meet him. He was like the last one down this like long row of dorms. I'm driving 5 miles an hour in the training zone. And Lackland Air Force Base is lit, really, really lit at all of the crossings. Like, seriously, you can get skin cancer at these crosswalks with how many lights we have. But in between these crosswalks, it's pitch black. Like, literally the fuck, like pitch black. You can't, it's like the empty void. So picture it, it's Sicily. No. Picture it, you just drove through a crosswalk with like halogen bulbs and you drive through, you're driving 5 miles an hour, but you got the two really big red, white rings in your eyes. And you can see all the way down to the next crosswalk. And then all of a sudden, out of the fuck nowhere, luckily I was only doing 5 miles an hour, a fucking TI is right in the middle of the road. I fucking slam on my brakes, pissed as hell, get out, start yelling at the guy. He doesn't know who I am because he can't see me. I'm in the dark. And he thinks, man, you nearly fucking hit me. I'm in the crossroad. I want your name. I got your license plate number. And I fucked it. And I said, hey, as soon as you file that report, I'm going to tell him the asshole I nearly hit is a TI and doesn't have a reflector belt on. And the fucking TI just walks up to me, gets that like finger in the face sort of, and then realizes, oh shit, has to immediately go back on his heels, pop to attention, and whip out a salute. Sorry, sir. Carry on, TI. Wear a fucking reflector belt. Fucking hit your dumb ass. Like, how hard is this shit? You would smoke a fucking trainee for the next 5 years if he crossed in between the fucking, TI, a training instructor, you call them, I don't know what the Navy calls them, drill sergeants for the Army. TIs are our equivalent of drill sergeants. Yeah. I'm going to find a Twitch server status. Yeah, those guys, saucer heads always make me fucking laugh. They're so mad. Like, they're so mad at life. Oh, then again, I understand why they're so mad at life. So many of them aren't, oh my God. I'm gonna show you guys this. I'm gonna pop this in Discord, obviously, because I can't pop it in. Go to Twitch status and I'm gonna pop this picture. And I'm about to have to shit on the Starlink thing because you're wrong. And I hate when people man. See, I didn't understand Starlink because I'm old and I went and researched it and I come back and I'm gonna shit on your argument, and don't hate me, but I'm gonna shit on your argument. But this is what's going on with Twitch right now. That's a bad day. All right. So this argument that you put up, I'll put it in here too. Just to add regarding Starlink, the satellites are at a 550 kilometer orbit. If you want to go from one side of the planet to the other, it's 6,921 kilometers. Light takes 23 milliseconds to go that distance. Additionally, the claim of 20 to 40 milliseconds is terminal to satellite and not terminal to satellite to terminal. So yes, the way Starlink is designed, it will make it possible to have lower latencies for very long connections versus landlines with the clusterfuck that internet routing is. All right, couple of problems you have. Number one, you forgot to include the 8 to 10 handoffs in your time. So first of all, light takes 23 milliseconds to go that distance, okay? If you want to go from one side of the planet to the other, light takes 20, light, who doesn't have to do a handoff. Light, who doesn't have to do a handoff, does that in 23 milliseconds, okay? Which means there and back, if light did a relay race, there and back, that is 46 milliseconds, okay? So we're now at 46 milliseconds. We're at 46 milliseconds if the server you need to connect to is on the other side of the planet and back. But what you're forgetting is that it doesn't go from your house either to the ground station via landline or from your house directly to the satellite, because there's two options there. And it doesn't touch one satellite, go to another satellite and down. It touches multiple satellites. Again, it has to zip between 8 and 12 connections depending. Now, every time it has to make a handoff, there is an incurred time there. And I don't care how great you make your system. You're not going to tell me that every handoff is instantaneous, okay? You're not going to tell me that every handoff is instantaneous. with that said, if I have to go from my house directly up to a satellite, even if you have to do 10 handoffs, machines can do less than 1 millisecond connections. Dedicated hardware can reach that speed. Sure. Now, okay, and this is what my point is. All right, and let me do the fight, and then we'll do the Bob Ross. And this is where all the fucking fanboys, the White Knights and the Suck Elon Off crew, when it comes to Starlink, start. And I'm going to give you 1 millisecond. I'm not even going to dispute your 1 millisecond. I'm going to dispute your 1 millisecond later. But for right now, I'm not going to dispute your 1 millisecond. I'm going to give you 1 millisecond. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 millisecond. You can have it. You can have it. So let's just finish our fight. And I'm going to prep a very sexy looking planet. Okay. And I'm gonna prep my house. I'm gonna prep my server. Okay. Good job, crew. Good job. And it looks like we got Twitch chat back, but we can stay on Discord as well. We can chat lots of places up there. 4-star. It's hard. Oh no. All right. We come over here. We Bob Ross it up. Okay, so here we go. So you have generously provided us the amount of time that it takes, and we're gonna sunlight, right? And we're gonna just do for sunlight to do a relay race there and back, 46 milliseconds, right? Now, I'm going to give you 1 millisecond. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to give you 1 millisecond, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Instantaneous, no processing speed. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. Give or take, because it could be more, plus 46, okay? 4, 5, 6. That's already 64 milliseconds. I'm not saying 64 milliseconds is bad. But what I am saying, what I've been saying this whole time, the gamer crew that thought that they were going to get 20 milliseconds global ping to any server anywhere are the ones that started that whole fucking snowball effect down the road. Even Starlink says you have to touch a bunch, they have to zip it between a bunch of satellites. Well, if every handoff is 1 millisecond, that's cool. That's great. That's fucking blazing fast. However, I said I was going to give you 1 millisecond. I gave it to you. It was a gimme. I don't believe that they're going to have, with the number of people using Starlink, I don't believe that they're going to have 1 millisecond handoffs. All right? However, I gave you one. I gave you 1 second. And whoa. Somebody back in my days just subscribed. Luckily, I caught that. I wouldn't have been able to see it. The 46 milliseconds is the time it takes light to travel half the distance of the circumference of the planet and back if light was running a relay race. Because light is how satellites communicate. And when they say light is going to go around the planet faster, when light is going to go to the other side of the planet through a series of satellites faster than light can travel that distance without satellites, you start to have a what? On mounts, for what reason would a player want a tortoise over a raptor, since mounts will have stats and unique abilities? Will mounted combat be a thing? No, mounted combat will not be a thing. However, your mount has stats. So you might have multiple mounts for multiple things for multiple reasons. There is a turtle, and there is a turtle, and there is a tortoise. One is a water mount, one is a land mount. One is for water travel, one is for land travel. There are mounts that will be land mounts are slow in the water. Water mounts are slow on the land. Now there are some mounts like the otter that will have advantages. However, your otter isn't going to be breaking any fucking ground speed records, right? You're also gonna have the uh you're gonna have mounts like your mule, that is your traveling pinata. It's gonna be your traveling pinata of your gatherables. So you might have there isn't going to be mounted combat for anybody except there isn't going to be mounted combat for anybody except the royal mounts, the tier 3 mounts, the dragons, the wyverns, the hydras, the other shenanigans that you can get into with mounts. They will be able to fight. They will have they will have combat skills, and they will be tide turners. What about quantum teleportation? I thought they found that's possible. Is that like Quantum Leap? Is that like Scott Bakula? Quantum teleportation was just achieved with 90% accuracy over a 44-kilometer distance. I gotta check this shit out. Oh shit, that's out of the Fermi lab. Oh, I can get good shit out of there. I got friends up there. Awesome. I gotta make a phone call. I got Fermi lab friends. Yeah. I'm gonna get the real scoop on that. Because it came out of the Fermi lab. Something else came out of the Fermi lab. So yeah, I'll get that. Take a look at that later. I'm 41 years old, and I'm not embarrassed to say I didn't read the news yesterday, because after my show yesterday, I played with dinosaurs. Because, why the fuck not? Just to be clear, I'm not a fanboy of Starlink or Elon Musk, but I do feel that even if you get around 100 millisecond latency with Starlink to connect to a server on the other side of the world, it's pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if Starlink is playing with the definition of words, and instead of using latency and networking being a round trip connection, instead of just being a one-way signal delay. Yeah. The problem with what see, Rollums, look at how quickly that fucker slid, right? And this is what's been happening ever since. Guys, I admit I'm old. I don't understand technology. I tell people this story. I just bought my first like top end fucking PC, and you guys helped me make a couple of last minute tweaks and changes to what I put in it. A couple of people I trust. I showed the build, recommended a different motherboard than the one I was going to go with because of what I'm going to use it. Like somebody said, what are you going to use it for? Why are you putting 64 gigs of RAM in it? I said, because I fucking video editing, like shit, when I start having a bunch of 4K clips, my computer grinds to a disastrous halt. A couple of people said, hey man, you want to change this, you want to change these things in your build? And I said, okay. Okay. I didn't just take any one person's word for it. I said, like, one person said, so then I took the one person's thing and I gave it to the other people. I actually ended up, I fucking trusted you people. You better all not let me down with this. You all better not let me down with this damn AMD CPU. I'm telling you, you remember that scene from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where Jay and Silent Bob used their movie money to go and beat up all the kids? I'm gonna be chasing you all down. Is my build a secret? No, my build's not a secret. I can post it. Save as. But I'm the guy that used to have people come to my house to do tech support for me. To do the tech support for me because I used to pay HP to come to my house. Yeah, that's what I put in it. See, best value doesn't mean shit to me because it's money. It's money. You see, I open my wallet. I open this leather thing. I open this thing, and there's these pieces of paper in it with dead presidents on it, and so I hate the phrase value. I hate the phrase value. When I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, this is what I want. I want something that is going to do the video editing I want to do. Is it an Origin PC? Yeah, Origin PC. They're building it for me. Yes, I overpaid because I used Origin. Again, no, I don't give a fuck. I was going to buy all the parts. I am capable of building a PC. I do have a degree in electrical engineering. I am capable of putting a PC together. I have the use of my hands again. But here's the problem. I wasn't able to secure all of the parts independently. So it's like paying a headhunter to find all the parts for you. So, not even a Threadripper. Yeah. If gaming on a Threadripper, if gaming on a Threadripper was valuable, I would have done that. Yeah, and if you buy from Origin, you can go through them for the warranty instead of going through the individual companies. Yeah, Origin backs up the machine. Origin backs up and warranties the machine. And plus the fact, I'm gonna tell you guys the sort of shit that goes wrong with my computers. It was last Christmas time. I'm sitting there and I happened to go into my task manager and I only see 6 cores. And I said, what the fuck's going on? This should have 8 cores. And I contacted HP. I had an HP service pack. I had an HP service pack on this machine on my cube because HP had fucked me in the long term, and the VP of Executive Services took care of me. And so what happened was I was on chat support, and if they can't fix with my HP service pack, if they can't fix my PC remotely until the service pack expired, I didn't need to send my PC back. They needed to send somebody to my house. Well, unfortunately, the dude in Indiana doesn't want to have to drive 4 hours here, but that's the service pack. And I gave HP access to my machine, and he's doing his thing, and I'm just sitting there on my other machine, looking at the other screen, and the guy, he's restarting it and everything, and every time it pops up, I gotta hit the reconnect button. And the guy's like, I have no idea what's wrong with your PC. And it looks like you're gonna be getting a new one. When I send the tech out, I'm just gonna be sending the tech out. He's like, you do have to pay the tax on the replacement parts. And I said, I'm not paying the tax on the replacement parts. He's like, please just pay the tax. And I was like, why do I just want? He's like, because I don't have the parts to fix your PC, but I have to get your PC fixed. So if you please just pay the tax, I'm going to upgrade your machine for you. Like, I'll pay the tax. Because he has a 2-day turn time to get it fixed, because that's the service pack. They would have had to go back for other parts. So it actually turned out he was just getting ready to make the trip out. Not him himself, but pack up the components for the guy that was going to have to make the trip out when he fixed it. And I was like, well, did you have to try the one last thing? He's like, yeah. He's like, because if I didn't try the one last thing, the technician would have tried that first. And then when he got to your house, he would have been pissed. Driving like 2.5, 3, 4 hours to get to your place to try one thing. But yeah, I mean, some people say HP. Oh, realize when I was, if you're Air Force, well, if you're DOD, you get a deep discount on, you get a deep discount. Well, I mean, if you're just having a gaming PC, that if you get the discount goes deeper than the HP overcharge, what the fuck does it matter? Now, if you're a person that likes to build your own machine, have complete control over everything you put in your machine, I totally understand. I did that shit before. I don't find it enjoyable. I give mad props to those guys that do all the gaming PC builds on YouTube. They find that fun. I don't find that fun. I don't find doing that stuff fun. I thought it was I thought it was fun when I didn't have the money. Now that I have the money to just buy it. Yeah, but he got a Dell Alienware. His graphics card died and they didn't have replacements in stock. The new graphics card replacement needed a new motherboard. So they gave him a replacement machine instead since it was quicker and cheaper. Sometimes expensive warranties are worth it. Yeah, sometimes expensive warranties are absolutely worth it. Now, am I gonna be up here and be like the Origin fanboy, the Origin spokesperson? No. If Origin wants to watch my unboxing of my new machine, and when I set up the new machine, I'm gonna move some of these lights and some of these monitors. I realized trying to play with the way I have stuff configured, I need to move this mic. I need to put the camera here. I need to put the camera on top of this. So I need to move this around when I start to game. Because if I sit here, that light, the light right here, it's killer. It's killer on the eyes. And if I do this, like if I do this, it wouldn't seem like one key light makes that big of a difference, but this is with one key light off, the key light in front of the monitor. Now I can see the monitor, but you guys can't see me. And if I do this one, it's way overshadowed, but you know, why are you that high? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Diffusers are a nice investment. And it's not that I need a diffuser, it's I need to not have the key light directly over the monitor. And then remember, normally you wouldn't light this setting the way I do. But when I do this periodically, I can't light it the way I normally would do, because normally you would light it. So right about now, let me see. Yeah, there's exactly one pen replacement. One pen distance between the top of my key lights and my ceilings. Unfortunately, I live in a house with 8-foot ceilings. I would love to live in a house that has 10-foot ceilings, because then I could light things differently. Other thing is when I move into the new house, because I'm going to build a studio in the new house, cost, add $10,000, $15,000 onto the cost of the house, have everything exactly how you want it for streaming, then I'm not going to have these problems, because I'll have the lights mounted to the wall. And, before I knew better, I bought an extended warranty for my TV. Best Buy had to replace my 45-inch Sony with a 55-inch Sony. Then I just bought a replacement board in the gray market. Bam, 2 TVs. Yeah, you can't do that much anymore. Usually now, they want the carcass of the other one. So generally now they will come and pick up the 45-inch. Because they want it, because they'll take it to their local place and they'll part it for replacement parts. What is foot in centimeters? I don't know. Did I participate 30 centimeters is 1 foot. Did you participate in the AOC Alpha runs? I cannot confirm or deny if I played Alpha 1, but what I can tell you is this. There was an alpha testing session between December 18th and December 21st. That alpha testing session included people that have Intrepid packs, and I have publicly stated since 2017, 2018 that I own an Intrepid pack. So you can roll all those facts together. So 3 meters is high, 8 foot, yeah, 10 foot is 3 meters. Yeah, I mean, right now, oops, my wife's gonna yell at me. So there's, I can touch the ceiling. I can get a fingertip on the ceiling. I'm just a shade under 6 foot. Yeah, so this room, these are 8 foot ceilings. I want 10 foot ceilings. I want 10 foot ceilings in my studio. The problem with 10 foot ceilings though is then you end up having to do more to the room to stop echo because you have that higher ceiling. You got to put those things in. You got to put there's these special corner boxes in a room with 10 foot ceilings. You got to put those in the corners because nothing else you get there. I mean, it's kind of weird. In order to, I was having audio issues. I was having audio issues, so I hung a curtain rod right behind my machine, right behind my desk, and I just put a noise dampening curtain on it, and it's all beveled, so it eats all the sound that way. And then I told you guys that really cool, badass looking backdrop back there. That's this right here is just shower curtain. I found a really cool shower curtain on Amazon. I bought it and I bought 2 more, put them in the corners. That's why I tell new streamers that are up and coming. I said, you don't need to get expensive. You can go with the inexpensive solutions. Is Ashes of Creation a good game to play? Come to watch gameplay. Not sure if you're really playing. Sorry, not trying to change the subject. Oh no, you can always, don't ever apologize. Don't ever apologize for questions on my show. No, right now the game is not in active testing. It's gonna be under NDA until March 19th. On March 19th, as soon as the game is up, I'm gonna be streaming. I'm going to be doing my usual show. There won't be any stream raiders going on. There won't be any distractions. We won't go political. It'll just be Ashes. Like my family knows it's going to be like eat, sleep, stream, repeat. I'm going to be covering Ashes pretty much nonstop. I'm going to get a lot of footage. I'm going to have, when I'm doing Ashes in the spring, you're going to have this, and then you're gonna have this, you're gonna have like nothing, and then you're gonna have periods where it's just this, and then there'll be days in spring where this is what you get when you come on. You'll have none of the other stuff going on the screen. You'll just have the gameplay, and there'll be a note going on. I'll probably have a very small note in the corner that I can clip out. Gonna just record and test. I will tell you guys, the amount of effort I put into stream for 1 hour versus the amount of effort I put in to make 1 5-minute video is radically different. YouTubers have it much harder than streamers. YouTubers have it radically harder than streamers. I worked for 2.5 hours this morning on essentially what is a 5-minute video. Because when you're making a video, you have to go back, you have to get the right content, you have to get the right cut, you have to get I need this footage. When you're streaming, your audience is okay with the dead time. Like if I was to be like, oh, what I want to do here is I want to show you guys the stuff that happens after this. So while I'm streaming, I just do this, and you guys don't give a shit that I'm scrolling because it's expected in a live stream. But in a video presentation, that would be unacceptable. In a video presentation, I would have to line all that up, cut it. Why not upload raw halves of your stream? I do. There are unedited, untouched, undoctored copies of my stream over on my YouTube. I put those up all the time. The thing is that I also occasionally will chop up a stream, and I will chop up a stream, and I will take out like one of the 10-minute segments. Other times we get a really good discussion going and I chop that out. That's the piece I'm bad at. That's the piece that I'm really, really bad at, and the piece that in 2021 I want to be more cognizant of. I need to do more with clipping my Twitch, making highlights, and then cutting that stuff off. Working again. Yes. Except when you say working again, Pogger, who would be the Pogger there? Who would be the play of the game? Here. I mean, because Twitch can't really be the Pogger for it being working again because they're the ones who broke it in the first place. So I don't know. Can we throw Pog out for play of the game? I don't think we can. I don't think we can. All I know is that somebody at Twitch right now feels like this. They feel that mistakes were made. Yeah, BCG, man, Big Cheek Giant. He's a really good. Yeah, fuck Knuckles, exactly. BCG. BCG has been driving himself insane for the last 5 days. About 5 days ago, BCG, we have a content creators Discord for the Ashes content creators. Help each other, get some support, get some get some feedback with each other, make things work. And BCG's been driving himself nuts trying to fix his stream. Well, that one day that just before Christmas when I streamed and we had all the dropped frames and shit, I said to him, dude, it's not you, it's on Twitch's end. And he's like tearing up his setup, tearing up his rig, wasting all this time doing test streams. I was like, bro, relax. It's on their end. And then today you saw the chat just went to shit. I mean, Twitch has just got problems right now. And all you can do when Twitch has problems is tighten up the boots and ride the storm. I mean, you can't. What are you going to do? If you know it's on the other guy's end, there is absolutely no point in changing anything on your end. Yeah, all you can do is go to Discord. For today, it was just the chat. It wasn't the stream. If Stealthy Ninja 69, Stealthy X Ninja, shouldn't that be X Stealthy XX Ninja XX 69? I mean, the thing is that there is definitely some room for YouTube growth if you're a new content creator. If you are a new content creator and you're trying to do this for a living, I can give people hours and hours and hours worth of advice. Yeah, XX Stealthy X Ninja 69 XX. That's how it should be. Lots of X's. And then when somebody steals your name, it'll be X, big X, small x, Stealthy X Ninja 69, small x, big X, small x. And underscore, yeah, I got it. Oh yeah, because if somebody wants the exact same, yeah, exactly. And then they they don't have the X. Somebody that's gonna take it to the next level is gonna do Stealthy underscore Ninja instead of X Ninja. So yeah, my future. This is my future. My future name. My future name. Um. There's my future name coming. There's my future. My future name is coming. The future is now. Wait, I am the old man. I can't use the phrase "the future is now, old man" because I am old. I am old. By the way, I will be sending, not that. I will be sending that to the artist soon. It's gonna be that's gonna be the new t-shirt design. That's gonna be the new t-shirt design. 60 is old. Yeah, man. You know, my eldest brother is 16 years older than me. And I'm 16 years older than my nephew. And I'm waiting for my nephew. I'm waiting for my nephew, who is now a lieutenant in the Air Force. I'm waiting for him to call me old man. Like, I'm just waiting for it. It's like, past your time, old man. Like, I'll fight you. I don't give a shit that you're like 6'4". I will fight you. When I hit you in the kneecap with a tire iron, you're going down like everybody else. Greetings from Brazil. An excellent game is coming. Yes, I agree. An excellent game is coming. I wish I had stuck with learning Portuguese, but I didn't. There are some very good Brazilian streamers getting ready to make Ashes content. And then, of course, you guys will hopefully get a regional priced server, because I understand that that Brazil is their economy is just horrible for the average working man. I have a lot of friends in Brazil from my time ArcH content. Lots of good people. I'm not one of these people that judges people. Like I say, I have lots of friends down there, lots of good people. Let me say this. There are absolutely definitely some Brazilians that I would rather hang out with than some Americans when it comes to gamers. I don't think that just because you're an American, it makes you automatically a nice guy. Let's do the 4K video. Good people, but not good economic. Yeah, true. Absolutely. I'm surprised hearing an American say that. Usually you guys focus more on Spanish. I have Spanish up here in my brain. I didn't use it for 20 years. I taught in the back of the yards neighborhood in Chicago, where a lot of my students didn't speak English, and so I was thrown into the deep end, had to learn Spanish. So anyways, I'm gonna take my quick break. I am going to take a quick break. I need to get more tea. And then we've got some show left. We got some show left to do. So you guys take your break too. Get up, get your tea, get your drink, your adult libation, whatever it is. I'll be back in less than like 3 minutes. Yeah. Oh, I see somebody subscribed. And I got a 2020 glitchy. Oh, nice. Absolutely. I like it. We have a Brazilian in my clan in World of Tanks. Great guy. He always worries about his English pronunciation, which is better than some of our American members. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? I always tell Brazilians who ask me for help, they're always like, I'm sorry for my English. I'm like, well, thank you for using English, because if we were trying to have this conversation in Portuguese, it wouldn't be going anywhere fast, because the daughter of mine that speaks Portuguese isn't here. So you just keep going on with your bad self with your broken English. I'll figure it out. Zetrix has subscribed for 5 months. Appreciate that. Starting to get those subs back up for the year, so that you guys know the subs go to do great things. Started off the corporation. It's time. First one of the year. See if I can do it. Let's see if we've got the lung capacity. That's a sub train. Sub train is chugging along the best it can along the bottom of the screen. I do have to change this. Instead of it being a crossing, which is acceptable, you expect a train to cross at the crossing. I need to put Chibi Jahlon and the cat, so that if you guys keep subbing, they don't get hit by the train. So my English is not the best. Maury's taking us up to tier, or Maury subbed to tier 2, taking us up to a stage 2 hype train. Choo choo, here we go. And here we go. Level 1 is complete. Let's see. Your English is not the best. You're German. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Most people around the world learn 2 languages. Americans barely learn English. Americans barely learn English to the point that over the course of my lifetime, we have changed the language because we couldn't stop people from butchering the language. We just made their butchering of it the legal, proper syntax of the language. Like, half of it's for political correctness. Half of it's because we're afraid to offend people. But I don't know whose this is. Whose is it? It's John's. Can you take it to him? It's Sally's. Can you take it to her? It's Sally's. Can you take it to them? No, not to them, to him or to her. That 30 years ago, the language, because it's a him or her. Now we don't even have gender pronouns. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We don't even have gender pronouns. I don't understand. In California, you can be fined if you accidentally refer to somebody by the wrong gender pronoun. I don't understand. I do not understand. If the future is now, I'm glad I'm the past. So, where are we at? Oh, let's troll around for content. We had another you can get fined out of ignorance. You can get fined if you accidentally call somebody by the wrong gender pronoun. I'm just saying, it's the way of the world. How can you not refer to someone by the wrong gender by accident if you don't know it in the first place? What do you mean you don't have gender pronouns? Them isn't a gender pronoun. Them is them. There's no gender attached to them. So we don't want to offend people. So instead of saying, take Sally, or whose is this? It's Sally's, take it to her. We say, take it to them, because them is a they. They is non-gender specific. Again, I don't understand. I do not understand how we got here. How long is Alpha 1, and would it be worth purchasing if the opportunity presents itself? You want one of those bird mounts? Luckily, the bird mounts will be available in game. If you're talking about the flying ones, that particular flying one, that Griffin was a giveaway code, if I remember correctly. The wiki had a whole bunch of them. I have that code. I have that code on my main and my alts. My alts account. Somebody said on the Reddit, wait, what is this? Somebody said, boom, Brock to 8. Appreciate that. I'm a noob at Reddit. I break stuff on Reddit all the time. Oh. So you have them, but you can't use them. Yeah, in some states. How long is Alpha 1, and would it be worth purchasing if the opportunity presents itself again? Would it be worth buying Alpha 1? Worth for me would be if I have at least 1 month of play time to play the whole time. To play the whole thing. Here's my concern with this Reddit thread. How long is Alpha 1, and would it be worth purchasing if the opportunity presents itself? Would it be worth buying? Worth for me would be if I have at least 1 month of time to play the whole thing. You don't play alphas. You test alphas. You test alphas. Oh, look at that. Received a level 1 hype train emote. Hype swipe. Oh, there we go. Put the hat away. We'll not need the hat again today. Choo choo, I know. Oh, yours is cool. Which one is that? Looks like a guy with a skull. In fact, it is a skull. It's hype rip. Limited time only emote. Hype rip. Let's see. He was so hype he died. Exactly. You don't play in an alpha. You test in an alpha. And I say that to people because you got to be really careful what your expectations are when you're in an alpha. You got to be really, 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 really careful about what your expectations are when you're in an alpha. Because if you don't temper your expectations and you don't understand what you're getting into, you're going to be expecting a finished, polished game. And the truth of the matter is, is that an alpha, an Alpha 1 especially, an Alpha 1 especially has stuff in it that's going to change. It's already got stuff that's slated to change. So people got to keep that in mind. You hate Google Sheets, horrible to code in. I love Google Sheets. I like Excel better. I talk about that with the new employee orientation. I do 2 briefs about working with the military and ship identification roles. There is a bullet about the use of sir, ma'am. I always make it a point to say, this is how sailors are trained. Please do not take offense, correct the service member, and carry on. Remember, it is our default, though, and we are human and may forget. Just be polite and remind them. Yeah. I mean, it, in the military, there's only 2 forms of address. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So there is no other option. If you're in the military and somebody higher ranking, if you're in the military and you're in the Air Force specifically, everybody who outranks you is a sir or a ma'am. And the rest of the working branches of the military, officers are sir, officers are ma'am, and then everybody else is, you don't call an Army sergeant sir. They get pissed about it. Except that's that thing that Sparky said. They had to remind we had several occasions where the Army drill sergeants would be near the Air Force students, and the Air Force students have to call everybody that outranks them sir. And the Navy chief, first of all, the Navy chief got all pissed off in a shape because he got called sir. And he's like, I'm not a sir, I'm a chief. And our E8 was standing right there, and the chief was being a douchebag, and he was in E7, and the our E8 was there, and he turned around, he's like, my airmen are supposed to call you sir. If you have a problem with that, you bring it to me. And they're starting a little squabble right there, and the E8 looks at the E7, he's like, all I need from you right now is a yes sir. So I hate to say it, but the Navy has the least military bearing. I'd say the Army, but maybe. How do you think tab targeting versus action system will do? Will tab targeting players have advantage in PvP? Good question. So here's the way life works. You've got 2 types of abilities. You've got action, you've got tab. There is an inherent risk versus reward of using action. The inherent risk versus reward of action is that you can miss and I can dodge. And both of those are active events. The difference with tab is in the waterfall stats of tab. In the waterfall stats of tab, I can raise my accuracy to 100%, where I'm not going to miss. But your RNG chance of evasion still has the ability to cause my attack to fail to hit the target. Got to be careful to take the words miss and dodge out of that statement, because I can't miss. I can't miss. In tab combat if I have 100% accuracy. I can't miss. I can still fail to hit you if your waterfall stat of dodge rolls into your in your evasion window. Now, action combat in Ashes of Creation will more than likely do more damage than tab abilities, because therein lies the inherent risk versus reward. You are using active action hitting, and when you hit for more, because you'll hit less often. Action players will hit less often, so when they hit, they have to they need to hit for bigger damage. Action abilities are going to have the hard CCs, those CCs that take away both your ability to move and your ability to act. Tab abilities will have soft CCs. They will take away one of your options. So you have a silence. A silence is not a hard CC. A silence is a soft CC. The reason why a silence is a soft CC is it takes away your ability to act, but not your ability to move. A root is a soft CC. A root takes away your ability to move, but not your ability to act. Fear, stun, sleep, knockdown, telekinesis, stone, in prison. Those are all hard CCs. You've taken away my ability to move and my ability to act. Slow, silence, interrupt. Trying to think. That's really all of them. Those are soft CCs. Stagger. Yeah, if you do a knockback to their casting bar. Can't he dodge the ability, although tab? No, you cannot dodge tab abilities. Tab abilities are worked out by the waterfall of the 2 dice rolls. Is my accuracy 100%? If yes, then I don't roll an accuracy D100. Is your evasion greater than 0? If yes, roll a D100. Did you roll in your evasion window? If yes, then you dodge the attack. It's a lot more complicated than that, but at the end of the day, it's ultimately the computer doing all the dice rolls for the tabletop. Ultimately. So, how many times have you accidentally called a female sir, especially during basic? Never. Because my recruiter told me to make sure I take 3 seconds before I belt something out. It's always better to be sure than to be wrong. I feel you should be able to dodge all abilities though, but see why it can be abused. No, you can't dodge all abilities because then you don't have a tab game. If you can dodge all the abilities, you no longer have a tab game. You have an action game. That's why you have dodge and you have evasion. If a stat is called dodge in tab, it shouldn't be. It should be called evasion because you don't dodge. Your character evaded it. Can you clarify what is a tab game? A tab game is a game where you have to have the target selected, usually by spamming the tab button until you tab over to a target. The target is locked, and then it doesn't matter. The target can be over there. The target can be right behind me, and as long as the target is tab selected, is in my 180-degree field, I can be shooting over at that Mickey hat. It's still going to hit the Joker because he's in my 179 window. If most likely action systems will have harder hitting, it'll be interesting to see if guilds will prefer tanks to go action combat to have higher DPS and possibly be better at avoiding certain mechanics. So, first of all, you still have to go 25% tab at a minimum. Second of all, a tank isn't going to be going action combat because a tank is going to be going initiator combat. A tank's job isn't to do... First of all, are you talking PvE or PvP? Second of all, a tank's job isn't to do damage in Ashes of Creation. It's to control aggro in PvE and to control fights in PvP. Of course, tanks need to apply as much damage as they can, just like healers have to apply as much damage as they can. But a tank is in PvE is holding aggro, and not all of his abilities are damage dealing. And then in PvP, his job is to control the battle space, basically. You are amazing. Thank you. I hear that a lot. Not as much as I did when I was a young man and single, but I still hear it a lot. Do you think the League MMO gonna leave Ashes in the dust? No. Here's why. Couple of things. While I am willing to bet players are gonna go back to Riot Games if the MMORPG they make is good, that better be the damned best fucking game ever for me to come back to deal with the shit that is the League of Legends community. I played Han, I played Dota, and I went to League. I played one game of League. I got told to feed my hands into a blender, and I left. I said, fuck this. I don't need this shit in my life. I don't need this shit in my life. I left League after one game, installed it, played one game, and left. And then I settled on Heroes of the Storm, because Heroes of the Storm is a slower paced MOBA, and it's good for my hand therapy. You guys know that I lost use of this hand for several years due to damage up here. I've had this, I don't have, my bicep tendon isn't connected up here. So I have to do constant rehab on my hand. Well, Heroes of the Storm is good. What? So Heroes of the Storm is good for me to exercise my hand. QWED. It's good for my hand. It's like really what I need. It's really what I need to be doing. So that's why that's why I like Heroes of the Storm. Now, if Riot Games put out a League of Legends MMO that's top shelf, then I'll go and play it. I'll check it out. It's an MMO. I'm an MMO player. However, Riot really needs to fucking skull bash their community if their community even remotely tries to treat the rest of the player base like that. Because yeah, Valorant is like that. Valorant is toxic as fuck. It's because Riot Games doesn't slap the fuck out of people and say, what are you doing? League of Legends is struggling. League of Legends is struggling. People are going to turn around and say, no, League of Legends is doing great. Bullshit. League of Legends, League of Legends is so toxic. They drive away their people, and so they had to start spending money on advertising. Companies other than McDonald's, Burger King, that are going for a specific market. There's a specific marketing technique that those fast food companies use. If a company is spending money on advertising, their product is struggling because you don't waste money. Remember I said, what's the end then? Everything in life becomes this. Everything in life becomes this. If I invest $1, what am I trying to get back? Well, if I'm selling fucking hotcakes and my restaurant is selling hotcakes and 24 hours a day, I don't even have a booth to sit new people in, because as soon as people stand up, I have another group of people ready to sit down. I never have open tables. A restaurant that never has open tables doesn't have to spend any money on advertising because they're crushing it. A restaurant that can't fill their tables is the kind that are going to go and spend money on advertising. It's just like, I invest $1, what am I going to get back? If you're selling your house, sometimes your realtor will want you to, and I hate fucking realtors. Sometimes as soon as you go to put your house in your market, the realtor will say, fix this, fix this, fix this, fix this, fix this. And you're like, that's a lot of fucking money. The problem is you can fix the first 5 things. And then as soon as somebody looks at the house, they're going to want the next 5 things. Hey, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice, man. Don't come in my fucking channel and tell people to stop their fucking language. Because I'm a goddamn American and I have a First Amendment right. And it doesn't matter if you're a kid. I like the word fuck. It's the only word in the entire language that can be used as every single part of speech. So I believe in freedom of speech. Don't come into my channel and tell people. I was going to get to it. I was going to get to that, but since you said thank you for stopping the language, I'm going to jump on it now. If the language my community uses makes people uncomfortable, there's a X in the upper corner, and have a nice day. The website will be like PG friendly, but I was getting there in the list, but I'm going to jump ahead. Please don't ever try to moderate my community. I have moderators. I have a moderator panel. I'll do the moderating, and when I need more moderators, I'll hire some. When we get really crazy, I actually click the mature filter on. I don't think we're there yet. But yeah, don't ever try to police my community, because then if my community turns around and tells you, like, in expletive terms where to go, I'm not gonna jump on them either. So, where were we? Oh yeah, so League of Legends MMO. I think the League of Legends MMO can be successful because Riot doesn't make bad games. Riot polices their games badly. Riot polices their games very, very badly. So, let's see. League of Legends is toxic, and I switched to HOTS as Abathur. You know, Abathur is an amazing hero. He's so amazing, you're not allowed to play him in all random, all mid. You can't have Abathur. You can't have Abathur. You can't have Hammer. If you take Ragnaros, you can't take Lava Wave. Li Ming needs to be taken out of all random, all mid. Deathwing has to be taken out of all random, all mid. Let's see. All MOBAs are struggling. I'll agree with that. I won't argue with that point. Riot has a ton of cash currently to be able to try. Riot has a ton of cash currently. Fuck, this is a difficult sentence. Why won't this one come out? Riot has a ton of cash currently to just be trying stuff and checking what sticks. Yes, absolutely. When you have money, you do what you do. Let's see. Unless they are using strats such as Fortress. Yes, true. True. What about a sponsor stream? That's a form of advertisement. Yes, it is. See, when I say you got to be careful with marketing, there are some marketing techniques that we talk about on the show. One of them, the biggest one, is the fear of missing out, FOMO, fear of missing out. The other one is the McDonald's Corporation runs a lifelong advertising campaign. That's why the McDonald's Corporation doesn't make big changes to their advertisements. McDonald's has spent millions of dollars. McDonald's has spent millions of dollars on marketing research to make sure they know exactly the right length of the game, or the right length of the commercial, the right amount of food time, the right amount of chat time. McDonald's misses the mark sometimes. Right? But if you haven't seen a McDonald's TV commercial in a long time, and you hear the McDonald's jingle and you see the food on the screen, if you were born in America and your parents bought you Happy Meals, your brain is automatically programmed for Pavlovian response to the McDonald's theme. Because you had Happy Meals when you were a kid, and you grew up, and it's been the same food, the same fries, the same comfort throughout your whole life. There's a reason why McDonald's, even though they make billions and billions of dollars a year, they still engage in advertising, because they want you to remain hooked. McDonald's doesn't need to put fucking Egg McMuffins on billboards, okay? You know where to go to get an Egg McMuffin. That billboard is there for continuous reinforcement of early behavior. That is a lot different than League of Legends reporting that they've had 100 million players and now suddenly suddenly needing to start doing YouTube advertisements, because while they claim they have 100 million accounts have been made, they don't have enough. They don't have enough daily players. They missed the mark, all right. Putting a McRib on the screen of all your leftover meats crushed into a rib shape that also resembles the bones and dripping it in barbecue sauce. McDonald's literally has the balls to own the food equivalent of love. Yes, they do. They do. McDonald's wants you to bring your future children to them, and so on and so on. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I don't know which game you're talking about. Oh, I don't know anything about the Riot card game. Hearthstone is better. But you know what's funny? When Magic's new online game came out, do you know how many Hearthstone players got fucking rolled in Magic? Because Hearthstone players didn't understand Magic the Gathering offense and defense. Just like Magic the Gathering players, when they went to play Hearthstone, were like, what the fuck do you mean he doesn't go back to his full health? Magic and Heroes of the Storm, or Magic and Hearthstone, are radically different games. They are radically different games. So, yeah, Magic the Gathering is far more complex than Hearthstone, because I have to tap land to get a new card. Yeah, like, what is this? What is this? Destroy everything on the board, but bring all of your stuff back. What, like, Yu-Gi-Oh is far more complex than Magic the Gathering. Fuck your Yu-Gi-Oh, man. I challenge you to understand Magic the Gathering's collectible card game. In the amount of politics involved in that, and the amount of intrigue and controlling the edge. Oh my God. I wish to God White Wolf would make the White Wolf would make the vampire collectible card game an online thing like Magic the Gathering is. It would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing. The fact that you have to bleed yourself, like you can take damage to yourself to feed your kindred can go and bleed somebody to heal you. Oh, it's such an amazing. Spades or hearts is more complex than Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, are we done? We got to go. Uh-oh. Guys, we look a little light here. We look a little light. We might not win this one. It's even up. It's even up. We might be in trouble. They're gonna keep producing units. We're stuck in the middle fighting a fucking turtle. Go get them, boys. 28-19, but they're gonna keep producing. Oh no, they spit out another turtle. Grumpy old man, go kill the turtle. Jewel, go kill the turtle. Oh, archers, blow up the turtle factory. Don't let it spawn another turtle. Good job. It's a nail biter. It's a nail biter. Although Grumpy Old Man's got a mage, and so we should be okay. We should be okay. Is Guntag here? No. Back in my days, 200 gold. Guntag needs to be here. I owe him a 200. Yeah, we got time. The retro power plant. Let's see. Magic the Gathering has multiple zones that are not in the play place, and you determine the odds of your ability to play your cards. Okay. Is Intrepid back in their studios this month? No, San Diego doesn't look like like the last thing I saw for San Diego was they had no they had 0 beds available for ICU. They had 0 ICU beds available. California, let me just say this, right? You guys know that Anaheim and where Disneyland is, and then the area around where Universal California is, those areas are big tourist traps. Now, Disney might be in luck. Disney, you guys know, if you guys know the history of Disney, Walt was really upset. Walt was really upset when he bought Disneyland, and then people bought all the land around him and put up all like shitty off second-rate, third-rate hotels and everything. So Walt went and he created like 100 different shell companies. And that's how Disney World has so much land. Disney World has so much land down in Orange County, Kissimmee, Florida area, because they bought it all up under 100 different companies, and then those 100 different companies all sold it to Walt Disney, so they could build Disney World. If I can just, if I can, Ariel, is this, yeah, this one will do. So a lot of people don't realize this. Disney has room to grow forever, right? Disney has room to grow. They can build like another 2 or 3 theme parks with the land that they own in reserve. If I can just zoom this in a little bit more. You see all that space between, they can build other theme parks. They own a ton of space, and they own a lot of space around all of their theme parks. Like, none of their theme parks are blocked in. If you guys know the big deal about Universal Studios, Universal had used all of their space. They owned some property away from their away from the 3 parks that they already have. Well, the 2 parks they already have. Let me be specific. They own some property away from Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. And then they bought some property right off the back of what they owned. But there was a guy that owned a huge strip, and he just wasn't interested in selling it. He had 0 interest in selling it to him. They finally acquired it. And so now they're building Epic Universe. Well, Disney isn't responding because Disney's like, well, let's see what they build, and then we can build to respond to what they build. Because Disney also has spots that they want to tear down and put in. Like, they have some third-rate fucking shit that they built back in the 80s. They want to tear that down, but they don't, because as you guys know, taxes favor the rich and rich companies. So in this regard, Disney has defunct theme parks that they leave in a state of defunct, so they can count them as a loss. So, but out in California, you have Disneyland, you have Universal, and those 2 companies have enough money to be like shuttered for years. But a lot of those little bits and pieces just outside, they're fucking bankrupt. They haven't been able to be open for 10 months. And California is fucked. They count on a huge amount of tourism money. And it's just how it is. California had the most stringent COVID regulations. No, they didn't. My state had more stringent COVID regulations than California did. Right now we can't even go to a restaurant. Restaurants have been closed for weeks again. Yeah, Universal ended up buying Wet n Wild in '98 to get more land in prime area. Yeah, but they just recently, within the last couple of years, bought that other strip, the one that they couldn't get a hold of. But yeah, Universal buys stuff, Disney buys stuff. I saw the thing about Disney's airspace. Yeah, they bought the airspace above Disney so no one can fly planes close by. I agree. Wanted to ask, since they can freely accept subs, I remember there was something what prevented you from doing so. Oh yeah. Back last year when I was streaming, actually 2 years ago, when I started making a little bit of money with Arcage Unchained, my personal financial situation, I went to my accountant, I went to my attorney. I said, hey, I started making a little bit of money streaming. They both kind of stopped. They both kind of looked at me and they said, well, whatever you're doing, fucking stop. And I said, what? They're like, your situation, you're going to fucking risk dollars over pennies. So I had to stop streaming until I worked everything out. Now everything's worked out. The channel is owned by the corporation. It makes me feel like I'm back in the fucking 90s in WWF, the corporation. The channel's owned by the corporation. So now the channel's remonetized. Everything's good to go. Eventually, my goal is to have employees. Eventually, my goal is to have employees that run the Paradox Gaming Network Incorporated for me. And then I just get to stream and then they get to handle all the paperwork. That's the goal. I need a business manager. I need somebody that can take care of t-shirts. That's what I need. Design them, not print them. Printing t-shirts is easy. I can do that. Fucking drawing, man. Fuck it. I suck at art. Yeah, James, right now, our schools are closed. Right now, our schools are closed. Can't go to school in person. Restaurants are closed. Can't sit down at a restaurant. Most everywhere will throw you out if you don't have a mask on. Churches are closed. Public buildings will throw you out if you don't have a mask on. State buildings, federal buildings. So how much do you pay for the designs? It depends. I need to see people's portfolios. It's always interesting when you start talking about how much do you pay. How much should I pay for designs? Well, you have to be on par with your rate has to be on par with what I can get at Fiverr. And Fiverr has some really top rate artists. So there's a spectrum there. I prefer to pay people direct, but then they always get into the zone of when you're dealing with a corporation has to pay you on a billed invoice. There's no shenanigans with taking money out of a corporation in cash without a billed invoice. So you just can't do that. It's against the law. Have to have an invoice, have to have services rendered. Otherwise they start nailing you for playing loose and fast with how you're dispersing corporate money. So remember, corporate money, it belongs to the corporation. Here in Florida, it's the Wild West. People kind of do what they want during COVID. But you know what's funny? In Florida, Universal Studios and Disney, I only saw 3 people get corrected by Disney in the 9 days I was there. Not like, hey, put your mask on, but like one guy got ejected. One guy got ejected from the park for the day. His family balked, and then they said, well, you can join him. And then they looked at him and said, we'll see you back at the hotel. And then I saw a couple other people get approached by security about the repeated no use of masks. Everybody else was, everybody else was like, I want to be at the amusement park. I'm going to wear my mask. It's been crazy to see the delay the U.S. had with these COVID measures. As someone from Europe, we're almost in the stance of we warned you, but I blame mostly Trump. Ralms, Trump can't actually do shit about COVID. That's not how our country works. Our president is the executor of the law. He's the enforcer of the law. He is not the writer of the law. Even if the president were to write an executive order mandating face masks, the president of the United States doesn't have a law enforcement agency large enough to make people wear the masks. Because remember, the only law enforcement agency the president has is the FBI, and their jurisdiction is for federal crimes. So, you have state and local governments, even as far as a governor passing a law. Sure, the governor has the state police, but he doesn't have enough of them. If, like, for example, we had a bar that was open and the bar owner said, I'll take the fine because I can't afford to stay closed anymore. So just go ahead and give me the fine every day. Well, as fucked up as this situation is, my town is about 8,800 people, and more than 80% of the people in my town have had to have a COVID test because of exposure to COVID. But they're at a fucking bar, and the bar owner gets fined for being open. But the local government fines the bar, so the local government remains in compliance with state law. The local government could take their liquor license, could take their business license, but the governor can't roll into this small ass town and do anything about it, nor would he, because he's got bigger fish to fry. So these boss mechanics in the screen right now are doing 245 damage. That is approximately 30% of an average player's full health pool in this video. Yeah. First of all, you're seeing the damage being done to a mage who's not a tank. He's tanking as a mage with GM hacks on. So the video is good for ultimately conceptual. The video is good for conceptual, but I wouldn't say the video is good for how it's going to be. Then again, if it's a 40-person raid, there's 2 bosses, 5 tanks. You may be doing tank swaps. This is a great example of, people always say to me, why would I bring 5 tanks? People don't understand my whole, you're going to be building raids out of parties, because you're not going to tell one tank get fucked. You're not going to tell one tank get fucked, go ride the pine, because as soon as you do that, that tank's going to go find another guild. So yeah, I imagine they're going to have 2 other tanks, or there's going to have 1 other tank for this boss, 2 tanks on the other boss, an oh shit tank, or a tank working the perimeter, making sure he's dealing with any PvP. There's a lot left to do. There's a lot left to learn. There's a lot left to see. Plus, remember, they can always do tuning of the fights. Let's see. Most of our states' GDPs are on par or better than similar sized countries in Europe. Yes, true. Trump may not be able to enforce face masks, but he could have at least tried to set a good example by wearing one in public and advocating more for them. For months, he acted like be gone by April. Yeah, I agree with that. I 100% agree with you there. It costs nothing to demonstrate wearing a mask. So I 100% agree with you. The president, as the leader of the free world, should have put a damn mask on. Question about guilds. If I join your guild or somebody else's guild, do I get queue priority to join the server? No. You get pre-registration. You get pre-registration in beta time when we pre-register to a guild or pre-register to a server, but you don't get queue priority. And the same server on launch day versus rando who just heard about the game. No, there are no first class, second class, third class citizens in a pay to win game, or a pay to play game, not pay to win. There are no first class, second class, third class citizens. You get in queue, you're in queue. It doesn't matter if you're a member of a guild. What does happen is I form Paradox on the Sandal server. Everyone before the game ever launches, signs up for Paradox. They're all assigned to the Sandal server. What that means on launch day is if the Sandal server hits 50,000 accounts and they lock it, you don't have to worry about being at home or being at work that day, coming home and being like, well, fuck, I'm locked off the server. Your guild will all be pre-assigned to the server, so your guild will all be there on launch day. I wonder how much COVID has and will delay the game. So, working from home solutions. And as a guy who loves working from home, because I work from home, I'm in my home. This is my home. Working from home for me in the military, I worked from home a lot. Sometimes I worked from home because my infrastructure was actually better than the government. Like trying to do 1,000 slide deck for the MagCom on a computer with 4 gigs of RAM really didn't get the fucking job done. So I'd go home and I'd work on my machine, and I would work on my machine at home and then not put any sensitive data on the slides. If it was all non-important shit, just metric stuff, I would do the entire presentation at my house, and then I would send it to I would send it to myself and then send it out from there. There are advantages to working from home. There are disadvantages from working from home. An artist working from home is going to be able to produce more work in a week than if that artist has to go to the office. A manager, on the other hand, sometimes needs to see their people working, because if you're able to do the go see do, the go walk, to do the Genba walk, I'll give you a Toyota production system thing. If you're doing your Genba walks like a good leader should, and you're out of your office like a quarter of your day walking and going and seeing the work, you can make spot corrections at the 10%, the 30%, the 50% mark, instead of getting it at instead of getting something at the 70% solution and having to rework it. Then, you know, if I see you starting and I'm walking around and I see you at the 20% mark on your screen, I was like, I really don't like that. Like, I really don't like, so for example, I'll do this. If I'm walking around Paradox headquarters and I see the t-shirt guy working on this and I'm like, nah, I really don't like that font. And I see him working on it. He's not going to spend the next 2 hours getting the font turned and aligned right. I'm going to be like, no, I really don't like the font. And that saves time. Now, there are jobs like artist that, like Jinsey. Jinsey probably doesn't ever get sent back to rework stuff because Steven seems to enjoy Jinsey's direction. They seem to have given her a lot of freedom. She's running with it, and she probably really doesn't have to send in a bunch of check marks. So for an artist who doesn't have people walking around them in an open environment, people bothering them, people talking to them. Remember, when you're at your office, people do this shit to you all the time. Hey, how was your weekend? There is so much waste in the workday. I loved taking my laptop home when I was stationed in Ohio and knowing that the next day was going to have like 3 feet of snow, because I would get up, I would have my phone, my government issued phone on my mouse pad. I'd have my laptop out. I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. All my email would be answered. And I'd be like, what do I have to do today? What do I need to get caught up on? Because I don't have people coming to my office every 5 seconds. Hey, Cap, you got a minute? Hey, Captain, can I borrow you for a second? Hey, Captain, can you come to the loading dock? The fuck do I need to come to the loading dock for? They'll be like, there's something I want to show you. Words, motherfucker, words. What do I need to get up from my desk and go out to the loading dock for? Did somebody hit the loading dock? Is the loading dock dirty? What? Use words. Why am I coming to the loading dock? But that shit, you can't turn around and say that. That shit is the stuff you got to be like, one of your subordinates is like, hey, Captain, can you come to loading dock? Yeah, what's going on? You get up, pull out your CAC, grab your coffee cup like a good officer. You walk to the loading dock because one of your subordinates has an issue and you need to help them resolve it. That's good leadership. Great leadership is not time efficient. Time efficient management is never good leadership. That's why I told you guys, you have leaders and you have managers. So there is an advantage that you're going to pick up where the people are working from home and doing coding or doing writing or doing art or doing whatever, and they're not being interrupted. At the same time, the opportunity for rework, touch time, goes up because Steven didn't get a chance to see it. Jeff didn't have a chance to see it at the 10% mark, the 30% mark, the 50% mark from walking around. And then now you've got something that's all the way to 70%. And now that 70% has all been wasted. They got to go back to square one. I cannot quantify the amount of time, the amount of value added I was able to produce by walking to someone's office and ask them what they had going on. Those, oh, hey, you might be able to give some insight on this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. At the same time, when it's the other side of that, the other side of that coin is when I'm at my desk and as the OIC, as the highest ranking officer in the building, I have many hats I have to wear. The detachment commander, I have many hats I have to wear. And when I'm working on, because I have my work, and then I have all the other fucking work that gets done in this facility that I'm ultimately responsible for, but I still have my work that I have to do. I got to the building at 6 o'clock in the morning so I could work from 6 to 8:30 without the rest of the people bothering me. Because people love to do that shit. Hey, how was your weekend? Well, I understand you don't have anything to do until 11 o'clock on Mondays. I have reports that are due by 9. My weekend was great. How was yours? Hey, let's do lunch. We'll catch up this week. That fucking train of thought broken. Choo-choo, where's my train? Like I said, there's advantages and disadvantages. I loved working from home. I loved working from home because I would get like way the fuck far ahead on like a TO rewrite or a memo rewrite. I wouldn't tell not a memo rewrite, like a TO rewrite or an AFI rewrite, an Air Force instruction rewrite. But I wouldn't tell anybody that I was ahead of schedule on it. I would just get it done. I would keep that shit in my back pocket for when I got swamped again. And because remember, the military is the most inefficient bureaucracy ever known to man. The military doesn't have anything that looks like a work week that's called the first 40. And it doesn't have anything that looks like a work week of these are my tasks. And when I'm done with those, I can go fuck off. I had one job in the military when I was enlisted where I was work order based. And the machine on the first of the month would spit out all the work orders for the entire clinic to everybody by your name, by your assignment. And then we wore beepers. And we had a senior master sergeant who was cool as shit. When you were done with all of your work orders and you had your 10% spot check, when you were done, you took your beeper out of the rack and he said, you're on your beeper, you're on a 6-call ringback, and you better be able to get back to the base in 20 minutes. That this is your yard. You have 20 minutes away from the base. I don't care. It can be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If I call you, you better be able to get here in 20 minutes. That was the best. I had no work orders left. I did all my ancillary training, all my laws of armed combat, all of my how to not abuse my government travel card annual training, how to not rape people briefing. I love the no raping people briefing that you have to do like 16 times a year, and yet we still have rapes. You would think that they would realize that's not going to be efficient. But then I would go to the gym, I would work out, I'd be at home, my beeper would go off, I'd call in, be like, what's up? Be like, yeah, we've got an emergency work order, it's in your department, come get it. I'd be like, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 5 minutes. It was cool. It was nice. I played EVE Online. I got up in the morning, went to PT, went to breakfast, came home, showered, put on my BDUs, my boots. I always had my boots on, my boots bloused. I just walked around my house in a black t-shirt, BDU pants, and my boots. That way, if I got called, I was ready to go. So, how does this relate to Intrepid? The artists are probably getting ahead. The engineers are probably falling behind. The teams are probably like, they've had 9 months to implement work from home stuff. There is Zoom, there is TeamSpeak, there is Discord. There is the ability to work from home well. And what? Get down. There is the ability there is the ability for them to coordinate at the same time. Microsoft Teams. At the same time, as we get through as we get through doing it, there are a lot of companies who have realized, holy shit, we can close facilities and we can save a ton of money on rent, utilities, overhead. Let me tell you, I saw an interesting study that said people that don't have to commute to their job anymore and they're working from home, those people are spending some, not all, but some of that extra commute time. They're spending that extra commute time on their job. The quality of work from some places, not all places, but the study I was reading, the quality of work from their people working from home is going up because those people are spending more time on task because they're not distracted at work. Do you guys realize in an 8-hour workday, the number of work minutes is somewhere in around the 5.5 hours of work time in an 8-hour workday because of all the bullshit that just inundates you. There are people who used to have an hour drive each way to work and then an 8-hour shift. So there are people who are spending 9 hours a day working on their job, which is actually 3.5 more hours a day than they were spending on their job. And they feel that that's a good trade-off because I don't have to spend an hour each way in the car. So I'm willing to give the company a little bit more. And these are salaried people, by the way. I'm willing to give the company a little bit more because I spend a little bit less. Do I still play EVE Online? No, my wife told me if I went back to EVE Online, I'd be single. EVE Online is the one game that I get way too involved in. If I started playing EVE Online, there would be tripod stands with space maps, and I have 3 screens now, and I'm telling you right now, if I went back to playing EVE Online, I would bring my other 2 screens up here, and I would have 5 screens running. I would have a laptop with some other stuff. Yeah, no. My wife said that's the one game if I go back to, I'm going to be a single man. And as you know, when it comes to marriage after 13 years, it is cheaper to keep her. I'm just kidding. I love my wife. She is the best. She makes amazing fudge. By the way, I need to ask Steven if he wants. Oh, I don't have to ask him. Fuck him. I'm just going to make fudge and send it to him. He's just going to get a box of fudge. Like, here you go. What would be too long of a commute hours wise? More than 3 hours a day? You know, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. 1 second. As we get ready to close up the show for the day. Time is it? Hey, it's me. Let me grab this because you asked me about time, and believe it or not, I told you guys I have another channel called Jahlon On. Okay, and I actually have a video called Jahlon On Spending Your 8,600 Seconds. I literally have a video. That talks about how do you spend your 86,400 seconds a day. So I wanted to share that with you. So Jahlon On Time. What's too long of a commute? What's too long of a commute is however long you're spending commuting that's interfering with your life. I have never lived more than 15 minutes away from the military base that I've been stationed at. I hate fucking commuting. And since I was an officer, the number of times I had to go back to the base for stupid ass shit is unreal, is absolutely unreal. The number of times that I had to go back to the base for some next level bullshit is unreal. I had a boss once who sent me an email at 4:30. He sends me an email. He's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, all right. He sent me a message and I emailed him back right away. And then he emails me back. He says, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm at home." He's like, "Why are you at home?" I was like, "Because my shift is over." And he was like, "It's 4:00. I was like, "You're right." And I left for PT at 2:30. And I did PT from like 2:40 to 3:40. And I just pulled in my driveway and I'm just getting ready to go shower and, do my thing. And he's like, "But it's 4:00. And I called him. I said, "Sir, you're hung up on this 4:00 thing. I'm not understanding." He's like, "Well, I expect my officers to be here until 6. I said, "Sir, you don't come in till 9. I said, "You work 9 to 6. He's like, "Well, yeah." I said, "Sir, the world on this base doesn't start at 9:00 in the morning. The world on this base is yanking and banking from 3:30 in the morning. And most of my guys have already done all of their work by 9:00. So how am I going to do how am I going to do go see dues and watch them work? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I have to be here when the work is going on so that I can properly organize, train, and equip my peeps." And he's like, "Well, I need my officers here until 6. I said, "So you're telling me I need to work 9 to 6? He said, "Yes." "Okay, I'll work 9 to 6. Yes, sir. Toot sweet, sir. Mine is not to question why. Mine is to salute sharply." Week went by. Efficiency went like this, like down, like this. It was like a nosedive. Week later, my boss says, "What the fuck's going on?" I said, "Well, you see, sir, when I'm here at 5:00 in the morning, where there's no other officer, I'm the duty officer of the day. I'm here from 5 until 8 when the OPSO gets here. Who the hell do you think makes all those decisions for 2.5 hours in the morning?" "Oh yeah, that's me." "Who do you think does all the scheduling for the day?" "Oh yeah, that's me. But you don't want me here till 9. Yeah, I immediately went back to going to work at 5 in the morning. It was like, holy shit, imagine that. He still fucking bothered me all the time too. He'd call me at like 5:00. I'd be like, what the fuck? So I started paying him back the favor until he caught on. He kept calling me every day that he would call me at 5 p.m. He would call me at 5 p.m. The next morning, I'd call him at 7. "Yes, sir, about last night. I just want to let you know all those things." He's like, "You can tell me this at 9. "No, sir, it must be really important because you called me at 5:00 last night while I was at home, hanging out with my kids, eating dinner, doing all those other things. So I thought it was best that I let you start your day with this information." He stopped calling me at 5:00 at night. With that said, guys, we have survived another Twitch being broken. I do want to let you guys know that this was the last scheduled. This is the last scheduled Saturday show. I am going to Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Guaranteed. The shows are going to become 5 hours instead of 4. The shows are going to become 5 hours instead of 4. And then obviously they're going to run late because you know that I don't have the ability to stop talking on time. And then you guys know that we bounce around a little bit. I'm still going to stream on the occasional Saturday when I have time. But it's the beginning of the year. I want to come out of the year punching. I want to be punching out of the corner. I want to get some growth on YouTube. I want to get some growth on Twitch. Thank you to the follows. Thank you to the subscriptions. So I want to get YouTube going strong again. I did less than half the business this year than I did last year. I need to fix that now that I'm a Twitch partner. T-shirts need to get made. Art needs to get made. Things need to get made. Lawyers need to get paid. Here is a video that is done that you guys deserve. It's ugly. It doesn't have a thumbnail on it yet, but I want to give that to you guys. I didn't get a chance to do the thumbnail before the show. It's on Jurassic World. Go and get Jurassic World for free from the Epic Games Store. And when you do, it's private. Try it again. Try that again. It should be fixed. I hit save. Let me know. It should be fixed now. I told you, I'm old. Sometimes I don't hit all the right buttons. Okay, so it's fixed. If you guys ever buy anything from the Epic Games Store, remember Jahlon 27. Remember Jahlon 27. It's just an affiliate code. Helps me out if you buy anything there. If you buy anything from Amazon, swing by the Twitch first. Go down below. Got the Amazon thing. Go into Amazon through there. That also generates money. I'll let you guys know what the legal thing that we're doing right now is once it's all done. I need to contact Impulse Visual Studio. They're gonna do the steampunk. They're gonna do the steampunk overlay for me. So I got lots to do, and I'm gonna go do it. So you guys take care, and I will see you on Monday. Be looking at the Discord. I don't know if I'm gonna start an hour earlier or go an hour later. I need to talk to the wife. So I will see you guys on Monday, right around the usual time, or an hour earlier. Take care, guys.